Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Happy Sunday. A lot of you probably have a long holiday weekend. I don't. I'm actually working tomorrow, but then I'm off Tuesday. Had I been there for a while or had I got paid for the holiday, I probably would be off. But when you work contract, you get paid when you work. When you don't work, you don't get paid. I've been off 6 months. So I'm going to work Monday, and I'll work a pretty normal week, except for I'll obviously be off for July 4th. The gold store is closed. It was closed yesterday and it's closed Monday. And then, of course, they're closed for the 4th. Very interesting. I think I had a hell of a day in baseball. Let's review that yesterday. I know I had the lock, the METS, Mets, with Bobby playing and Verlander on the mound. We got an easy W there. So let's go through it. We have San Diego. They win 12-5. I think it was a big day. We got the Yankees over 9. 11-4, 15. There's a W. We got Baltimore under 8.5. 1-0. W. We got Texas under 8. Texas 5-2, a 7 winner there. Washington under 8. 19-4. There's a loser. The White Sox over 8.5. Where are they? The Cubbies. Where'd the White Sox go? Here they are, 7-6, 13. That's over. Miami under 9, 7-0. That's under 9. We win the Mets. Bobby 4-1. Bobby had a few hits yesterday, I would imagine. We got KC over 9.5. They go to 10, a W against the Dodgers. Ooh. Tampa Bay over 7. Tampa Bay 8-3 is 11. Another W. The Cubbies under 8. 6-0. They stayed under. Another W. Arizona over 10. They lose. They win 3-1. California don't hit. So what a day. Hit the lock, the Mets. Hit San Diego, the Yankees, Baltimore, Texas, the White Sox, Miami under, KC over, Tampa Bay over, the Cubbies under. The only losers, Washington under and Arizona over. Quite the fucking day. Now, this is my point about illusion and having a reality, sort of a, what do I say? You got to have reality, right? You got to have a basis. So you're playing poker and the guy's trying to fake you into believing that the reality is I have a full house and he's bluffing, or the reality is I'm bluffing and he's got a full house. How do you read it? That's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm looking at things saying, what's my foundation? And my foundation in baseball is pitching. If we got good pitching, based on the games, I go over, I go under. There's no set, I bet this over, I bet this under all the time. It's like the hot mustard and the General Chow. The hot mustard lights me up a little bit. So when you pick football, when you pick baseball, girls, poker, gold, you have to have the base. You have to have the method to understand the illusion and get to the reality. That's what it's all about. everything's an illusion. Everything's the side of the story they want to put it at, right? So it's always like leaning, like the press. Oh, Biden is wonderful. Oh, Putin's crazy. Putin's this, China's that. And they try to make it into what do you believe? Excuse me. We'll watch gold, right? Sorry. So we watch gold, right? You got half these idiots saying one thing. Half don't realize it's COMEX, it's price fixed. Half don't understand. They're looking at 2008 going, this is what it's going to be. They don't understand BRICS. They don't understand what a gold standard will do. They don't even understand what inflation is, but they'll put in their opinions. How do you differentiate the illusion and what's reality? Why do I go and say Alistair McLeod and Egon and Andrew Maguire? Yes, I like them. They know what they're talking about pretty much. Andrew Maguire gets a little bit with the terminology. I'm not sure what it is. Hey, Kenzie, I didn't get an email from you. I didn't get a text from you. So I don't know. You're in Michigan. Where you at? I'm here. Just let me know. So why do I trust Egon? Why do I trust Andrew Maguire and Alistair McLeod? Why do I trust these guys but not Maloney and Schiff and all these other idiots? Well, mostly they're salesmen. I was watching something last night from, we'll get back to baseball. So I was watching this guy, the next big one with this guy. And we're going off a financial cliff. Okay, it's 31 minutes. I watched about 25 of it. Really, it's a show about sales. Liberty and Finance is just trying to sell their product. So they have guys come on that say gold's this or gold's that, so go buy gold. All right, really, that's the show. The host is the owner of Liberty and Finance. He's an idiot. The questions he asks is like, let's get to the question. In other words, say, do you like Canadian Club 12? Period. Okay, guest, answer. No. He'll get into like a 10, let's say a 45, 50-second question about Canadian Club 12 until he asks the fucking question. By then, you're just so irritated you can't watch him. Kenzie, I can't mail you. You know where we usually chat. What the fuck do you think you are? What the fuck do I think I am? I'm the professor. I don't understand the question. You want to come? I'm telling you, email me or text me on my phone or go on WhatsApp. Otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like that language. I don't like lit. I swore on my class, so cut that shit out. So anyway, this guy, he was a stockbroker on Wall Street. Why do they think the stockbrokers on Wall Street have any brains at all and understand economics at all? So I really don't get that. And yet most of them are all, I like that one. She used to work at the Fed. So people, first of all, they should be talking to me because I'm an economist, because I understand everything that's going on, but they don't talk to me. They talk to, I used to work at Wall Street. as a broker, or Rule is a credit analyst, and Riker is a CIA agent. Again, not qualified for economics. And then the other guy, Andy Schechtman, is not an economist. He probably read a few things on economics, but he doesn't know what the fuck it is. So you have a bunch of people that they don't know what they're doing. It would be like them pitching a baseball game and they don't know how to pitch. So why Andrew Maguire and Egon? Because they're bankers who understand economics, because they have to be in the banking industry, versus salesmen. This guy's a broker, Daniel Martini or whatever, the Fed woman. That doesn't mean she's an economist. She doesn't understand anything. All she says is the Fed didn't talk about gold. Maybe they didn't talk about gold in front of you. You don't know what the Fed does or doesn't do. How can everybody be against gold? That's ridiculous. It's an asset. You know, you can invest in it. Anyway, I mean, you buy a Rolex watch. Why? Because you like it. It goes up in value. Why do you buy jewelry? Why do you buy diamonds? Why do you buy Mickey Mantle cards? Why do you buy stock? So you have all these questions, but nobody wants to buy gold. Gold's off limits. And so that's why you got to read The Illusion. Why are they not involving gold? Why are they so against gold? Why is gold so evil? Because it's money and it's gold. So anyway, so you got this guy who is a stockbroker. He doesn't know shit. What does he know? He doesn't know shit. Half the questions you couldn't answer. I don't really want to get into the video, maybe another time, but he's asking him, the host is asking him in his roundabout way questions, and the guy can't answer. And I just laugh. I'm answering it right away. Not only am I answering it, I'm wondering why the host is asking the question he's already got the answer to. So he has Alligator on, and they ask Alligator, why is gold down? Well, it's COMEX, it's price fix, it's paper. So he gets the answer, but now he has this guy on. He asks him the same question. Why is gold price down? Why are you asking? You already know the answer. You got it from Alistair. You don't need it from this. You don't need the same answer from 12 different people. You know, what color is the sky? It's blue. Okay. So the next guest comes on. You've got to ask them, what color is the sky? You got to keep asking the same question, because why? I mean, you've got the answer. 2 and 2 is 4. You got the answer. Why would you ask that question again? Yeah. So this guy just wastes time. This whole segment was a waste of time. It's him trying to sell his gold business. He sells gold, so he just tries to get on and get 20 different guests who other people might like, who he asks the same questions in a roundabout way. It takes him a minute to ask a question. And let's see if I can get an example. I'm like,
now is the time to take advantage of the power of gold and silver to grow your wealth. Whether you're an experienced,
see, that's what a salesman said.
What that means, because it's now worth north of $2 in spending. And just look at the list of countries that want to join. We've already seen, and you mentioned the BRICS a few moments ago, we've already seen members of NATO and longtime allies of the U.S. like France signal that their interest in having talks with with China and with members of the BRICS and so on. And it's also been difficult for the U.S. to get compliance from all of our list of allies in sanctions that we've said have to be imposed against Russia. Can you address that? Countries working around sanctions by just doing a pea and shell game with moving commodities through other ports and bringing them back in, or that kind of thing. How strong is the alliance of NATO actually at this point?
So it takes them 45 seconds to ask the question in such a roundabout way. I don't know what the fuck the question was anymore. I think it's about NATO and BRICS. Why can't he just ask the question? Why does he go around and around and around to ask the question? He's so irritating. Like, why is he even on asking questions? He either knows the answer to, as everybody knows, BRICS. All France did was say they wanted to go to the meeting. They didn't say they wanted to join BRICS. And BRICS said, you can't come. Is France serious? Well, France can do whatever the fuck they want. They're France. They're a different country. As far as the sanctions never work, but the U.S. sanctions to Russia, they're not. Germany wants to buy and sell. They do. And that's what they do. Germany, I need oil to heat. It's wintertime. I need oil. You think they're going to listen to the U.S.? Germany can do whatever the hell they want. All right, so let's hear this answer, if this guy knows the answer.
Again, I'm not an insider. I don't know, but what you can see
he doesn't know.
Information, it does not look like it's a tight alliance. And interestingly enough, July 4th, Iran is actually joining the BRICS.
Who gives a fuck?
Earlier today.
We know that. We know 35 countries are joining.
So that was announced that they've been accepted, and it will be.
All right, so he asked him a question. He doesn't know the answer. Let's get to the next question.
U.S. dollar, being the global reserve currency over the past more than half a century, has been tied necessarily to that global military presence.
No, it hasn't.
And the retreating from that global military presence necessarily will mean the loss of that global status for the dollar.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious that.
No, it isn't.
The United States was the one that had the big stick and enforced the use of the dollar. And now
no, they didn't.
Stick, if we look weak, then the enforcement of using the dollar is going to become less and less, and the dollar is going to be used less and less.
It's not because of its force.
All these countries that are holding on to dollars because they have to pay for various commodities or trade deals in dollars. Once there's an alternative for them that they can use
yuan or
rubles or their own currency, all these dollars that they hold, what are they going to do with them? They're going to sell them. And who's going to buy them?
No one.
The Federal Reserve is going to be the buyer of last resort for dollars. And let me add, Dunnigan, that if you're a student of history, read about the fall of the Roman Empire. I mean, it's very similar to what the U.S.
It's called inflation, moron.
Like you mentioned earlier, we've got bases all over the world. Rome overexpanded.
No, they didn't.
They were on a war footing. They started clipping their coins.
They did the inflation, yeah.
It's the same thing as what we're doing now. Is we're monetizing. So
we're inflating. Doesn't even know what that is.
At this point, all it is an empty shell.
Look at he doesn't know he doesn't know the answer.
It's going to be to illustrate that inside the shell is empty, but it's going to be something.
So it's a total waste of time. The guy doesn't know how to ask a question. The only thing that Rome didn't end because they expanded. They ended because they inflated the dollar. You don't have money. You don't have a government. You don't have an economy. You don't have a country. You don't need a military presence. The U.S. isn't the reserve dollar because of a military presence. It's because of the oil. You had to buy U.S. dollars to buy oil. That was it. It had nothing to do with the military. We don't have military presence, so you buy oil in U.S. dollars. That's the only way the Saudis will sell it. They sell it to you. Now, our military is there to protect the Saudis. That was the agreement. We'll protect you. and you make everybody use US dollars. The fact we have this military all over the world does not even come to a clue about US dollars being the reserve currency. The question he couldn't even ask. The answer, the guy's like looking, he has no idea. That's a perfect poker tell. He's looking around going, I don't know what the fuck the answer is. So he's asking the guest the wrong questions that he can't answer. Makes the guest look stupid. He looks stupid with the questions he asked. So the illusion is this guy knows what he's talking about and the host knows what he's talking about. And the reality is the host is an idiot, and you've proven the illusion of he's smart is he's not smart. He doesn't know what inflation is. He doesn't understand reserve currency is really meaningless anyway. You don't have to be the reserve currency. It's just, do you make more money because you're the reserve currency? Do you have to have military all over the world because you're the reserve currency? No. The fuck's this guy talking about? So this is the problem when you watch shit like this. Then I was watching Germany's election shock. So in Germany, the conservatives won in one city, and the news is all freaking out. You know, oh, the far right won. Well, okay, so the Conservative Party, I assume, won. I wasn't really going to play it. But basically, Germany had an election, and the conservatives won the election, which is a good sign. So it tells me Germany understands they don't want to be Keynesians, they don't want to be communists. The problem is, all right, the right wing takes over. Are they going to go back to gold? Hopefully. Strong laws, strong military. Well, you can't have military in Germany. All they do is go to war. Strong money, strong laws. So you need a gold standard and you need good laws that they will actually act. So can this right wing do that? And then if they do it, they'll become powerful until the communists come in and drain it and inflate the money. And this is the problem. You can't stop it. Anyway, let's get back to baseball real quickly. So a strong day yesterday. And see how easy it is. We bet on McCullough, win. We bet on Verlander, win. We bet on Scherzer, win. I think we bet the under there. So again, if they're playing an ace, we just bet there won't be any runs in the game, and there won't be. Hell, Minnesota, Baltimore's already started. It's 12:30. What the fuck is these 10:30, 11 o'clock games? I actually found last weekend the games were in London. Why do we need sports in London? Why does football have 5-6 games in London? Why does baseball now have a weekend series in London, England? But what is that about? What is the point of that? I don't understand. There's no demand here. You fucked the game up. Now you're doing these limits, how fast you have to pitch, how fast you have to be in the batter's box. Game about what? 2 hours maybe? They're hurrying to get it over. What does that remind you of? What do you mean hurrying to get it over? Why are you hurrying to get it over? Restaurants maybe hurry a little bit so they can seat a second seating. So the 6 o'clock guy, they want him out by 7:30. Then here's the 7:30, so they get 2 pays for each table. So it's a financial thing, not in baseball. It's not. You actually keep people away because I want to go and go 3 hours and watch a football game, 2.5 hours to watch a baseball game and take my kids. And, but now it's so boring, and you're speeding it up to get it over with because it's such a bad product. You have to throw in all these commercials, which makes the game 2.5 hours. So instead of getting rid of the commercials, you try to speed the game up with pitch counts or pitch clocks and bat clocks, which makes the game worse. Then in the 10th inning, you start the runner at second base. This is baseball. Nobody gets the base unless they get there. They got to earn their way out. They got to get a hit or a walk or an error to get on first. You don't just let them get to second. What the fuck is that? I mean, that's just ridiculous. All right. Starting at 1:35, we got Miami in Atlanta. We got Sandy Alcantara, who was good last year, who sucks this year. 3-6 with the 4.82 against Spencer Strider. He's really good. 9-2. We're going to take the Spencer. We'll take Atlanta. Go Atlanta. They're a good team. They hit well. They're 55-27. And I don't like Alcantara. So I like Spencer Strider. He looked pretty good. 9-2 with the 3.73. So he gets the W. So we like Atlanta there. Washington, Philly. Big score yesterday. We got Trevor Williams, 4-4 with a 4.28 against Rangers Suarez. Who names their kid Ranger? 2-2 with a 3.18. Philly's a big favorite for some reason, with a 2-2 with a 3.18 pitcher. Yeah, we can take Philly, I guess. Don't love it. They just seem like they're hot. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. That was an over yesterday. Milwaukee, Pitt. I didn't play. Yeah, see, that's a hard one. They're such bad teams. Colin Ray for Milwaukee, 4-4 with the 4.57 against Richo for Pitt, 7-7 with the 4.45. We're going to go over in Pittsburgh. Two bad pitchers, over 8.5. That's nothing. Not a problem. Boston and Toronto. I don't think we played this yesterday. We got Garrett Whitlock for Boston, 4-3 with a 5.15 against Kevin Gausman, 7-4. Like Toronto here. Gausman's a good pitcher, 3 ERA, and Whitlock 4-3 with a 5 ERA. So I gotta bet Toronto here. He'll keep the score down, and I'm not sure Boston can handle Toronto with a 5.15 ERA pitcher. San Diego and Cincinnati. We had San Diego yesterday. We can't play. We don't have pitching. What the fuck? 140. There's no pitching. All right. Dodgers, KC. KC's beating them. So I love when people get caught up in the record. Oh, they get their record. They won 20 games. We'll beat them. Like the Tiger guys do that all the time. Oh, we're playing KC. Well, that's 3 wins. And we're playing this. That's 3 wins. Hey, Bobby Bo. Yeah, well, they need something. Although you played for the Mets yesterday with Verlander on the mound and you got the W. So that was our lock, was the Mets. I saw you got 2 hits and Verlander pitched the beauty. So, yeah, you and Barry better get back in the lineup. And the funny part is you guys could bat 3-4 and you'd be the best 2 players on the team, even at your age. So, yeah, we hit our lock, the METS, Mets yesterday. So Dodgers, Gonzalez, 4-2 with the 3.30 against Brady Singer, 4-7 with the 5.88. Jesus Christ. I don't know. KC, do they have their number? Let's go over on this because KC's beating them, and I hate to take the Dodgers. We go over 9.5. See, so sometimes when KC's got their number, I don't want to bet the Dodgers here, even though that's the normal bet. 4-2 with the 3.30 ERA against 4-7 with the 5.88. I know the Dodgers will score a bunch of runs. So that's where I'm going to take the over because the Dodgers tend to play high-scoring games. Bobby, yeah, I agree, Professor. Baseball is way too many games to go by record. Bad teams beating top teams often. It's like New Mexico State beating Georgia in football. Well, the difference is also, again, the key is the pitching. So if Kansas City has Verlander on it and they have, and they're 20-60, but Verlander might be 6-1. So that's why it comes down to pitching. That's why football comes down to defense. Now, most bad teams, the Lions, Jacksonville, Indy, Houston, have terrible defenses. That's why they're bad teams. So that's why you might get upsets, like Seattle might get upset because Seattle Seahawks have a great offense and they don't have a great defense. So they can be upset a lot. Bobby, just for you, the General Chow. I got a story about Chinese food in a minute. So it's really the matchups that discover everything. So in football, like a good team, like Kansas State would have given Georgia problems because they had a really good defense. Not that TCU didn't. Michigan, see, this is the illusion part of it. Bobby, at least teams like UGA has great offenses too, like when they beat Ohio State in the playoff. Well, that's when they're an A team, when they have that great offense and the great defense. That's what we're looking for. Usually you got one or the other. You got Iowa State, great defense, and Iowa, great defense, and Washington State, great, and no offense. Or you got your Baylors and your Oklahomas and your USCs and UCLA who have great offenses and no defense. And that's why we differentiate. And that's why I take note on what is this team? Are they an over, an under? Are they a really strong A team? They got good offense and good defense, or are they a Z team? They have no offense and no defense. That's why I grade the teams, because we're trying to establish who are we playing. Because teams with bad, like the first week, New Mexico State laying 9 to fucking UMass. They're going to kill them. They will win 30 points in that game. They're laying 9. We're going to bet it heavily, laying 3 with New Mexico State. Their quarterback's back. They should have no problems because they were pretty good at the end of last year. But again, Vegas hasn't caught on to them yet. See, I'm way ahead of Vegas. I'm always ahead of the game. That's what I try to do. So I find the mistake. Vegas, why are you only laying 9 here? It should be a 20-point spread. It's New Mexico State. Yeah, but not with this quarterback, Pavia. They're very strong. Yeah, USC offense was so good, but their defense was disgustingly bad. Yeah, exactly. I would be so pissed if I was Caleb Williams. Well, but is it any different than when they were at Oklahoma? They had the great offense with Kyler Murray and the Baker and Hurts and no defense. That's why they never won the playoff game. Every time they were in the playoff game against Alabama or Georgia, I would bet Alabama or Georgia because of their defense. And they could never beat them because Alabama's defense would shut them down, and Oklahoma had no defense, and they couldn't stop anything. That's why you look for the A team. Good offense, good defense. When they play an offensive team, the defense can shut the offense down. But if you don't have a defense, you can't shut down their offense. You're fucked. That's why I'm the professor, because that you have to think fifth dimensionally like that. And that's really the key. It's got nothing to do with time of possession and turnovers and how many times do they punt and all the other shit. It's strictly how strong is their defense. And that's how and then baseball, it's how good is the pitcher. I would be pissed if I was Caleb Williams. Well, you're not, Bobby. You're Bobby Bo, so you don't have anything to worry about. Stuck with that embarrassing defense on the other end. Well, you just keep scoring. That's why they score every time they have the ball. And then Utah got them, and UCLA should have had them. If I was him, I would treat the defense like the professor treats the communists. There you go. I wouldn't even talk to them in the locker room or anything. Well, if I was on that team, no, I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Play defense. And if you can't, I'd be going to the coach. Well, why don't we get some defensive players in? Why don't we get the guys who are playing at Utah? Why aren't we recruiting them? Because they always have a good defense. And even with the good defense Utah brings, the USC games were 43-41 and I think 41-40. They still were 80-point games. Even with Utah's defense, they couldn't stop USC. But USC couldn't stop Cam Rising. And so we bet it over and we got the win. I don't know if you can I mean, did you do that in baseball? Like if you had a shit pitcher that was a minor leaguer, like the guy on Kansas City, did you just not talk to him or did you like put him in the shower and tape him or something? I would tell them to get the hell out of my face and go back. Oh, there you go. Always a prudent thing. All right, let me quickly finish. So we like the over in the KC Dodger game. The Dodgers score a lot. We got the Yanks and the Cardinals. We got Cole, 8-1 with a 2.78. Their ace against Montgomery, 5-7 with the 3.52. Should be an under game. Cole should win, but Montgomery with a 3.52. The Yanks ain't going to hit a lot. Let's go under in the Yankee game. Only because we got the Yankees ace, but we don't have the Cardinals fifth pitcher. Even though he's 7, he's got a 3.52. And the over-under in this game is 7.5. Houston, Texas, very good matchup. Texas can hit the fuck out of the ball. When you look at Texas, they got Corey Singer's 370. The Tigers, their best hitter is like 220. You looked in the lineup, 220, 205, 180, 160. Then you go to Texas lineup, 265, 280, 310, 320, 375, 310, 280, you know, you go down the lineup and you wonder why Texas is in first place and Detroit's in last. Well, it's not hard to see. They can hit and score runs, and the Tigers are up there looking for walks. Well, I told the hitters to be patient. This is the manager before the game. I told them to be patient. In other words, don't swing and try to get walks and try to burn out the pitchers. Because I watch my ball, and that's the key to baseball now is get to the 5th, 6th pitcher. Jesus. How about if he throws strikes and they got to swing and they can't hit? They're fucked. So, Houston, Sean Dubin, 0-0 with a 10.8 ERA. Good luck for that. Alex Haney, 5-5 with a 4.38. We got to go over in this game. Texas over 9. Texas scores a lot, and with this guy, Dubin, 0-0 with the 10.80. He's probably a bullpen guy. But even their pitcher, Haney, is 5-5 with a 4.38. Houston will hit him. There'll be easily 10 runs in this game. That's the better way to play it than try to bet Haney, because you're betting a guy with a 4.38 ERA I'm not interested in. I'll be with you in a second, Bobby. Detroit, Colorado. Detroit won in overtime with let's put the runner on second. What kind of fucking rule is that? We're in the 10th inning. Okay, your leadoff hitter goes to second. He gets it. Well, you didn't get a hit. You didn't walk. There's no error. Well, no. He starts at second. The fuck you. Who made that rule up? It's a girls' softball rule. Why would you put it in Major League Baseball? What the fuck is going on? I mean, it's like you can't take it serious. It's too fake to go to the games. Detroit, Matt Manning, 1-1 with a 4.15. He was supposed to be the superstar. The guy's been hurt. How he gets hurt, you pitch every 5th day 100 pitches. I could do that and never get hurt. I'm literally, like, seriously, how the fuck can you pitch every 5th day and be injured the way these pitchers are injured? It's unbelievable. 1-1 with a 4.15 against Connor Seaball, 1-4 with a 5.98 in Colorado. We're going over 11.5 in Mile High. Arizona and the Angels. We got Zach Gallen, 10-2 with a 3.02. We got an ace going for Arizona. Reed Demers, 1-5 with a 3.77. We're going under in Arizona. under 8.5. I would take Gallon 10-2 at the 302. And even Detmers is 1-5, but his ERA is low, so Arizona might have trouble. They'll probably win 10-0, but we got to play it prudently. The White Sox and the A's, we got Tuki Toussaint, 0-1 with the 3.60 against Paul Blackburn, 1-0 with the 3.77. I guess we'll go under. There's no under. It says odds. Chicago 135, Chicago 135, and it doesn't give us an over-under, so we can't play it. We want to go under in the game. Yeah, we'll make it up. We'll go under 8. Oakland under 8. Tampa Bay, Seattle. We hit the lock in McCullough yesterday. We're on the over. We hit the over. I'm getting good at this. We got Ty Bradley for Tampa, 5-4 with a 4.58 against Luis Castillo. Sounds like a wrestler, 5-6 with a 2.86 ERA, very low ERA. Seattle, not much of a bullpen. These are high-scoring teams, unfortunately. I don't trust Bradley. I'm not sure I trust Castillo. Well, let's go under. No, let's go. Yeah, we'll have to go under. I want to take Seattle, but I want to bet against Tampa. So we'll go Seattle under. And it's 7.5. Wow. Low under. Cleveland and the Cubbies. Aaron Chevalier, 2-3 with a 3.18 for Cleveland. Jameson Talion, 2-6 with a 6.90 ERA. What are you doing in the major leagues? So we're gonna take the Cleveland Browns here at 120. Now that's a cheap line, 120. That's an easy one. Take Cleveland there. And the last one's the 49ers against the ETS Mets. Bobby's going to go. Game's in New York. He's probably there now. It's 7 o'clock, so you got time to get there, Bobby. Ross Stripling, 0-2 with a 6.88 against David Peterson, 2-6 with the 7. Well, you're going to get a lot of 5 hits tonight, Bobby. A couple home runs. We got to go over. This is a joke. This is 2 terrible pitchers, 9. We're going to lock it again. We're locking San Francisco. You got a 6.88 and a 7.0 pitcher. Are you fucked? This is Major League Baseball. You see better pitchers in the College World Series. It's unbelievable. All right, so that's baseball. We got Atlanta. We got Philly. We got Pitt over 8.5. We got Toronto. We got KC over 9.5. We got the Yankees under 7.5. We got Texas over 9. Colorado over 11.5. Arizona under 8.5. Oakland under 8. Maybe it's 9. Seattle under 7.5. Cleveland, and the lock is the 49ers over the Mets. The 49ers Mets over 9. That is our lock for Bobby Bowe, because he's playing tonight. And believe me, against this pitcher, I would bet you to have at least 3 hits, Bobby. By passion, Bobby. I'll tell you, when I sit in the hot tub, I don't think I have 2 friends in there. This guy I don't like, that guy I don't like. There's the communist, there's this other idiot, there's this idiot. I don't really have a lot of friends, but I don't really want a lot of friends. So who needs friends anyway? Just a few. You need a few people you can talk to and get along with, and a few girls. I don't have friends that have friends, but I have friends that we can share, like Bobby, gold and silver, football, baseball. That's the type of friend you need. Someone you can trust, and I need a ride. He's there. These other guys usually are fake. Usually want something from you, and it's just a people thing. All right. So I found my notes on Austrian economics and the trade cycle, which I want to read to you, but I'm going to read Alligators column first. So Alligator wrote some nice ones on goldmoney.com. U.S. GDP surprise hits gold and silver. Well, we already that. This geopolitical evolution is really about Russia. There wasn't much news. And it's so long. He's writing about Wagner troops. Did the MI6 or CIA have a part in the Wagner thing, is what he's saying. So did the U.S. put Wagner up to it? Is Wagner in Belarus going to attack Kiev now? Was that part of the plan? Because all the troops are in Crimea, which is, as I tell you, it takes Jenna 20 hours to go to Poland from where she is. It'd probably take about 20 hours for these guys, maybe a little faster, to go from Crimea to Kiev, the Ukrainian army. But clearly, Putin is no fool. He will realize the limitations of mercenary troops. So he's talking military, which I don't know if that's Alligator's thing. How Putin won't want that. I mean, who knows? I mean, does Alligator really know that Putin won't use mercenaries? It's all Russia is mercenaries. I love this. Wagner's recruiting ground appears to have been among jailbirds, criminals on the run, social misfits, and is a haven for psychopaths. Well, who else? What a better army to have than that one, right? But will they listen to? They kill their own generals, though. Then he gets into Russia, which I'm not. I got Daria, so I can talk to her. The BRICS Summit in Johannesburg, we've talked about the 22nd to 24th. They'll be talking about trade currency for BRICS. The Shanghai Corporation and the Eurasian Economic Union has the merit of not having to address the vested trade that they'll probably announce concerning the new currency will come out of the summit, but it is likely to be preliminary in nature, and gold might not even be mentioned at this stage. And it would make more sense for the brief designed for such a currency to be officially expanded. Involving China more directly, that being the case, the only practical means of trying a new trade currency to multiple commodities and national interest is to use gold. As we know, nobody's going to trust Russia, China. Again, the illusion is you don't need gold because otherwise they just keep printing it, and the more they print, the less it's worth. And as I spent a long time yesterday saying, the illusion is that this has value and that I had the gold up, the gold doesn't, right? That was the illusion, is this has value, gold doesn't. And the reality is this has no value and gold has all the value. And like I said, gold's an asset. So why isn't gold the same price as a Rolex or a Mantelcard or a Picasso? Why is gold not priced when it is very limited? It's an asset. There's strong demand for it. So again, what I'm trying to say is, even though we see the low price, we're seeing a high demand. So if demand's up here at the roof and the price is here, we go buy as much as we can, because we know price has to go up to demand. That's always the key to economics. Bobby comes out with his new shoe. He gets, who's he got? He gets Mahomes to endorse the shoe, wear the shoe. He gets Joe Burrow to endorse the shoe. And that creates demand for the shoe. Now he can sell it because there's demand. No demand, he can't sell it. As nice as it is, even if it's Mahomes, if nobody wants it, nobody will buy it. Does anybody want this? No. They're not stupid. They realize it's inflated, and when you print too much, it goes to zero. A lot of people understand that, even though the news and half these idiots on YouTube go, "What's prices?" It ain't prices. We all know that. Professor, I got blood work lab results back yesterday. You okay, Bobby? What's wrong? What are you getting blood work for? Just don't eat the carbs, don't eat the sugars. Always good, except my cholesterol went back up. Don't worry about cholesterol. It's not real. I'll send you our doctor. Well, I don't have your email, but go to our doctor's. He does one on cholesterol, and he basically says it's there's nothing to worry about. So here's our doctor's channel, right? And he does one. Let's see. We'll do this one on autography. Why does it do that?
People are improving their eyesight.
So do this one on autography. That'll help you. And then he's got one. Well, here's one. Clean the arteries out. Make sure you drink a lot of water. Here you go. High cholesterol. Okay, so what? God damn it. All right, so there's one on high cholesterol. What's that one? It's 6 months ago. 10 common signs of high cholesterol you must not ignore. But quite frankly, there aren't the many real signs. Anyway, it's 23 minutes. Watch it and don't worry about it. He's saying it's nothing to really worry about. Decades of misinformation on
Where
for
it's
you.
critical that you watch from beginning to end so you understand how it really works. Sign number one is called a xanthoma. That comes from the word toxin or a pathogen that we're trying to close off. But there's a tremendous amount of confusion and misinformation. So here's something I found, and they call it 6 subtle signs of high cholesterol. And the first subtle sign apparently is a heart attack. Subtle, very. And the rest is pretty interesting. It says, as you no doubt know, a cholesterol problem will lead to heart problems. So the first part, as you no doubt know, that says it should be so ingrained in you that you should not have to think about this. And the second part says cholesterol problem. So it's implying that high cholesterol in the blood is a cholesterol problem, and that may or may not be true. Then they say that high blood pressure, diabetes, chest pain or angina, stroke, or pain while walking are also signs of high cholesterol. So the problem is they're all over the place with causes and associations, but they also make no distinction between high cholesterol in the blood and high cholesterol in a plaque. And it's right here, as they say, as you no doubt know. We've been told so many times that they're the same thing that you shouldn't think about it. You should just accept this as a truth and be very afraid of cholesterol. So this is what we need to clear up. As it turns out, none of these are signs of high cholesterol.
It's this guy.
And that's why it's so critical that we understand the difference. Here's from PubMed.
That's the doctor.
Medication.
I gave you this before, Bobby. Shame on you.
That prescriptions are the third leading cause of death after heart disease and cancer. And how about this? Half of those who die have taken their medication correctly. The other half are medical error. But think about that. Half of them have done exactly what they're supposed to. It's according to the best known practices in the medical system. But let me put this in perspective. The vast majority of prescription medication are for lifestyle problems. It is blood sugar, high blood pressure, it's metabolic disease, about 80% of it. And these are things that can be prevented. But here's what most people don't think about, that when we treat a symptom, when we suppress a symptom, that symptom happens for a reason. There's something causing that. And when we treat the symptom, then we're ignoring the root cause. And the absolute worst thing I know is when a patient comes in and they say, oh, I have diabetes, but it's controlled by medication. And there is no such thing. They're not handling the root cause. They're just suppressing the body's adaptation to an imbalance, but they're allowing the imbalance to not only go on, but to get worse. And when that imbalance gets worse, now it becomes heart disease and cancer. So if we figured that in, I don't have any numbers, but you can make a really good case for prescriptions being the number one cause of other diseases. Not the exact word for that, but I call it ignorant or reckless or even criminal.
Government.
Number 2 is called arcus senilis, and this is where we get a yellowish, whitish little ring around the cornea on the outside of the colored portion of the eye. And this is very, very common in the elderly. They believe it's because the blood vessels get a little more permeable, a little leaky at the time that as people get older, they also get some impairment of their lipid metabolism.
There is one simple hearing hack that anyone can use to get rid of tinnitus in 24 hours or less.
But as you know, if it's not a normal thing that happens when you get older, that happens because insulin resistance increases and you're moving toward diabetes, which happens to a majority of the population. The good news is, though, that for most people, this doesn't mean a whole lot in itself. The vision does not become affected, and it doesn't have to mean that you have another serious underlying condition. However, if you see this ring around the cornea and you're under 40 to 45 years old, that could indicate that you have familial hypercholesterolemia, which is a genetic predisposition that runs in families where you can have really, really high cholesterol. And that, again, doesn't mean necessarily anything serious, but it does mean that you need to really understand what's going on with your cholesterol. You need to watch all the markers and understand that if the high cholesterol is there, then you need to control all the other variables as perfectly as possible. And there may be some that I missed, but those are the only 2 signs and symptoms I've come across. So the rest of them are going to be alleged or misunderstood signs and symptoms. So first we need to understand what we're talking about. High cholesterol is the same thing as hypercholesterolemia. That means high cholesterol, a lot of cholesterol particles in the blood floating around in the blood. And according to Google, which is absolutely correct, high cholesterol in the blood has no symptoms. But right after saying no symptoms, they go on to say can have no symptoms, but people may experience common symptoms such as aortic aneurysm, heart attack, peripheral artery disease, or stroke. And here they fall in the same trap as everyone else. Every video, every article, they don't distinguish between high cholesterol in the blood or in the form of a plaque, as if they were the same thing. So what we're being told over and over and over again is that high cholesterol automatically leads to plaques. But the fact is that just as often you can have high cholesterol with no plaques. So if you have an artery, then we have an artery with a thick wall. And here is the inside lumen of the artery. Here is where the cholesterol and the red blood cells and all the other particles and solutes float around in the bloodstream. And here, this is not a plaque. This does not automatically become a plaque. But if we have the right conditions of inflammation and metabolic disease, now we get an infiltration. If the conditions are bad, now some of these particles get damaged and they get across the inside, the intima of that blood vessel, and they start filling up. But it doesn't just come across. It requires damaged particles, it requires an immune response, and it requires inflammation. Some misunderstood signs are frequent tingling in hands and feet, frequent severe headaches, as well as cold hands and feet. And this was supposedly due to poor circulation due to high cholesterol levels in the blood. And they seem to suggest that if you had enough cholesterol in the bloodstream, this would somehow cause friction and congestion in the bloodstream. And there is no way this can happen. So think about it this way. Most of the blood is red blood cells. And cells are pretty small, but compared to cholesterol particles, they're huge. And this is about 45% of the volume, of the total volume of the blood. So in 100 grams of blood, you're going to have about 45 grams of red blood cell, large particles. Almost half of the total volume are these big particles. And they are 8 micrometers, which again is tiny. It's smaller than a human hair by far. But compared to a cholesterol particle, they're so small it wouldn't even show up on the screen here in comparison. An LDL particle, for example, is one of the larger particles, is 20 nanometers. So micrometer is a millionth of a meter, nanometer is a billionth. So the red blood cell is about 400 times bigger in diameter, and volume-wise, we're talking about over 60 million times larger. So there's no way that this tiny, tiny particle by itself or even will contribute when there is so many other large particles floating around. It would pretty much be like saying that when we have a traffic jam, it's because the small air molecules are interfering with the movement of the cars. But then they're also suggesting that this poor circulation could be due to plaquing. And is there any truth to that? Well, plaquing can reduce circulation, but it is not going to be causing any of these symptoms. There can be some symptoms we'll come back to, but that's not going to be at rest. At rest, these plaques cannot cause these symptoms. Instead, by far the most common cause of tingling and headaches and cold hands and feet are going to be vasoconstriction, when the blood flow is regulated by stress. When we have stress, we tighten up the blood vessels to pull the blood closer to the core at the expense of the extremities. That's why they get cold. Another reason we get frequent tingling is going to be called neuropathy. And the most common cause by far for neuropathy is going to be metabolic disease, which is due to high blood glucose levels and high insulin levels. They cause swelling, so we don't get the proper circulation and blood flow in the nerves. They also say that if you have high cholesterol in your blood, then you will have plaques on the brain, and these plaques can burst and cause a stroke. So this is incorrect for several reasons. Again, you can have high cholesterol in the blood. That does not necessarily...
Anyway, Bobby, I think you get it. It all comes back to eating well and not keeping the sugar down, keeping the insulin resistance down, and that'll help. Watch that one. Anyway, the channel... It's Dr. Stan Ekberg. That's who you... So... Oh, yeah, I was reading Agon's thing. Where am I? So Egon's talking. Talking about the war a lot. Another aspect of the Johannesburg summit is the increasing queue for BRICS membership. It will need the agreement existing BRICS members, but given the existing 5 members have diverse political interests, it's not easy to forthcoming either. China and Russia will have to arm them into acceptance or form a different membership category, such as associates. Either way, formal applications have been submitted by 36 nations. So it comes into, what did I just say? They paint the picture that this is worthless. Hello. This is worthless and the gold, or this has value and the gold doesn't. But yet we see the demand in gold's through the roof, but the price isn't going with it for some reason, which we know it's price fixed. And then they say, well, look, the illusion is that this has value. Wait a minute, you got 36 countries plus the 5 BRIC, 41 who don't want anything to do with the dollar. I don't know if it's they don't want anything to do with it. They just want to be free to use their own dollar, use gold, use the BRICS. So I think if you have US dollars in your, let's say you're Saudi Arabia and you still have US dollars, well, no, that's a bad one. Let's say you're Japan and you still have US dollars, but you want to buy oil from Saudi Arabia, then I think you can still use your US dollars to buy it. They're just not buying new ones and they're selling them all. So they're getting rid of the dollar. Nobody wants it, the sanctions and the inflation. They can all see the inflation, but they know they're getting inflated. So everybody's starting to realize all the paper's useless. It's worthless, it's inflation, it's zero. You print the money, the value goes down. So everybody's buying gold. So wait a minute, if gold has no demand and the illusion is gold's got no demand, it's got no value, why are all these banks, central banks, China, Russia, all these countries buying gold if it's got no value, why do I have demand for it? So if my demand's through the roof and all the banks are buying it, how can it be worthless? Because if it's worthless, there'd be no demand. So what's the worthless one? This is the worthless one. You got this and you got no debt. Everybody's getting out of it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. You got banks failing. You got $35 trillion in debt. And the U.S. is ignoring, well, yeah, we have debt, but not a big problem. Well, yeah, we won't pay it off anyway. But do you want to, we'll loan you, can you loan us money? Are you going to be able to pay us back? No. We got $35 trillion in debt. Anyway, so that's what it is. So if we use logic and we dig through the illusion, what we see is the illusion that gold doesn't have a value doesn't make sense because the demand's up here. The illusion that the dollar has value doesn't make sense because all these countries are getting out of it. Well, wait a minute. If we just look at reality, we'd be in gold under the price is fixed and buy as much gold as you can buy. And that's really what you have to look at and ignore the JP Morgan price fix. It's doing it now, but all it does is create the demand for gold to go up because you're keeping gold at this. I bought 1/10 of an ounce for $250. Give me about 6 months and I'll put a zero after that for 1/10 of an ounce. It'll cost me $2,500. That's what we know. That's the reality, not the illusion. Bobby, but what is the name you got on profiles? I didn't. Okay. Professor, you've done a fast lately. No, I haven't. Well, I did that 75-hour one. I think I did. My feet were bothering me. I think I did a 48 Monday and then I ate Tuesday. So the fasts are getting easier and easier because if you just skip one day, you're looking at a 44, 45-hour fast. And the key is the 18-hour autography. So if you watch, I can't believe you don't have, I gave you this channel, Bobby, Dr. Stan Ekberg, not Eric Berg. I know they're similar, but I don't listen to Eric Berg. I listen to Stan. He gets you into autography, out of diabetes, out of all this, everything that cholesterol. once you get in a little bit into the show, he's going to tell you it's nothing. He says it's like an ambulance. It's like blaming an ambulance for an accident. So when an accident happens, an ambulance comes up, and that's what cholesterol is. He says it's the cholesterol comes, and then everybody thinks it's because of the cholesterol you had your accident, and it's got nothing to do with it. It's there to help. So you'll learn that, but watch your sugars, watch your carbs, and do your autography when you can. So whenever you fast, you want to go over 18 hours. You want the autography to kick in because it cleans your body. So it's just a good clean. It's like cleaning your house, right? You have a maid come in, clean, vacuum, do the bathrooms. That's the same thing you're doing with your body. So I will soon. Probably, I don't know. If I do them, I usually try to do like, if I can do 2 days, then it gives me like a 66 hours. So once you get past the first day, the second day, you have your coffee, you have your tea. And I've been eating a lot of ginger tea. I cut up like 4 of the gingers I showed you, and I boiled water, I pour it in, I let the ginger soak in. It's got a real bite to it. If you put one in your cup and you have water, it's a strong bite that the ginger gives you. But that's what I've been drinking a little coffee and a lot of ginger tea and a lot of water. And just keep busy in football or stocks or gold or something, and get into movies. And the problem I have is when I watch regular TV and the commercials for Taco Bell come on, and you see all that. It's not what you want to see. So you're better off with a Netflix or a DVD where you're not really seeing the commercials for the food. Then it doesn't bother you. And then once you get to sleep, that's like 10 hours of no eating. So I'm not going to do it this week. I might do it next weekend. Being July 4th, I got ribs and steaks. So I'm going to cook this. I'm going to cook them tonight. I just finished the General Chow. So tonight will be a steak for dinner. And then Monday will be a steak and ribs on Tuesday. I got 3 of the short ribs. They're the good kind. So it's got bone, meat, bone, meat, bone, meat. So it's got 3 meats. Fortunately, it's $12 a pound, and it seems roughly each one's a pound, which is the bone. But it's very good. I like it. And again, I don't use my barbecue sauce. I use my own olive oil and some Italian dressing and a little French and a little honey, and put a little lemon in it and mix it all up, and just marinate and pepper. My feet have been much better since I've stopped using all the salt on my eggs and my meat and everything. So I would just shake 3-4 shakes of salt into my omelet, into my veggies, into my meats. And I'm wondering why my feet keep hurting me. And now my feet are fine. So I've stopped putting all that salt in. I don't really need it. I put garlic and turmeric and basil into my stuff, and it tastes great. So I don't really need the salt. A little bit of pepper too. So my feet have been fine. My back's healed up, a lot of stretchies. So if you do hurt your back, you want to do this exercise, which is you put your foot under your knee and then you twist. And I do it in the pool, and I twist for like 2 minutes, and then I twist the other way. Then I get myself in a figure 4, and then I lift my leg and grab my hamstring. And I do a little bit of running in the pool, and my back's fine right now. It's a little bit tender once in a while, but nothing that I can't walk with, and my feet are fine. So I finally, after 3 or 4 months, my feet are fine and my back's fine. I mean, it was early April, my back was bothering me, and I said, well, it'll be better by the trip. And April 15th, 16th, I go to Barcelona, and somebody asked me yesterday, well, how was Barcelona? It was terrible. I couldn't walk. So I'm sitting there, hunched over. I go to the Picasso Museum, and I'm limping around. We went to this church. I'm limping, I need to sit down. And it was really, really hard on me. So it made the trip, and then Jenna left early. So today Jenna goes, so when's our next trip? And I'm like, you're going to stay there. And then I got to figure out Daria again. It's 2-3 days. Alina just had her birthday. I don't hear from her. And then she'll just say, oh, I was working. And I'm like, you can't fucking give me a text when you wake up or when you go to sleep. So again, I say, look, I'm in America. You're in Russia. I just know you're okay. I don't, even if you're with another guy or girl or whatever you're doing, I don't care. I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm not stupid. You're in Russia. So the odds on you're with somebody else is probably 99%, but it's okay. I don't care. I know what I'm getting into. I just want to make sure you're all right. So again, I hate when I don't hear. And then I'll see her online. She's obviously working, and she goes online for the daughter, and she sees me, and but she doesn't respond to me because they'll yell at her for being on the phone while she's working. But if I owe her money, she'll find time to, text me from where I'm working. But are you sending the money? So it's extremely difficult to send money to Russia. I sent it to her sister in Maryland, who changes, and she's got a Russian bank. So she takes the American dollars, gives her rubles, and sends the rubles to her. And it's the only way you can do it. Actually, I wonder how the sister sends it, because she can't use PayPal. I can't use, there's nothing I can use. There's nothing, I've looked. How do you send money to Russia? And it's like sanctions. So you can't send money to Russia from the U.S. The best is to have a friend, maybe in Turkey, or whoever allows the transaction to Russia. I think Iceland does. I was seeing that where you could send money to Iceland, but a lot of them you got to send euros, which I don't have, obviously. So it's just little things because of this stupid war. But anyway, I send it to her sister, sends her, so needs money for food. I send the birthday, whatever. But anyway, that's how we do it. The other one in the Ukraine, I can just send on RIA and it goes right through. And you can't do PayPal or stuff to the Ukraine, but RIA does work if you're trying to send money to people in the Ukraine. But so I'll hear from Jenna. She wants to meet again, of course. And Daria, who I want to meet, is every time I suggest it, she's I got to work and this and that, and I'm like, are we meeting or not? I'm getting tired of this. But the war, that'll never end. So I'm like, well, how much more do I wait? So we'll have to see. We'll have to play it out. Anyway, so Egon, a lot of Russia stuff. For China and Russia, they're integrating the SCO with BRICS are obvious. That's the Shanghai something. They're assembling an organization based on free trade, which dwarfs the U.S. and the EU and extends beyond Asia. Macron appears to be aware of the implications, and so are Germany's industrial leaders, opening the way for an EU-ism and an extension of Asian hegemony. That must be the word of the day. I never heard of it before. It builds a trade bloc, which makes the land sanctions meaningless. So again, if you're gonna sanction somebody and other countries aren't abiding by it, it's worthless. And then it pisses them off that you're sanctioning them. And then the sanction doesn't work because they can still get money the other way. And we'll have a complete independence from the dollar and its allied fiat currencies. Alternatives to the SWIFT international payment system now exist and can be easily extended. So we're knocking them away from SWIFT and the US dollar by sanctions. So they go this other route and they get all these countries and they go, we're going to do our own trade in this block. We don't need the dollar. So again, demand for this goes. So demand for the dollar's here. So there's no value. Demand for gold's here. So that's where the value is. So even if you know nothing and you don't understand anything, you do understand demand if people want, and if people want, and everybody, all the central banks are buying gold, that shows you that there must be value, or why the fuck would anybody be buying things there's no value in? So that's really what you're getting to is the illusion that the U.S. is sending out is gold has no value. And a lot of people fall for it because they don't know how to think, and they don't know how to reason, and they don't know how to look, and they don't understand demand. So if you understood just the demand for gold is huge, you would automatically go, it must have a value. This is why we're buying gold and silver. Like I said, I think JP Morgan's getting paid off to keep the derivatives going and keep price down. So, right, what would be the point of keeping gold down is so I can buy it. Who benefits from the derivatives keeping gold price down? People who want to buy it, period, right? So if you made oranges 10 cents, who does it benefit? It benefits all the people wanting to buy oranges. Who does it not benefit? The people who are trying to sell it can only sell it for 10 cents. So people trying to sell gold right now who need money, and there's a lot of that who come into the coin store. All of a sudden, I see him with a China panda. I go, "How are you getting China pandas?" He says, "Well, it ain't from China." People coming in and selling us the pandas because they need the money. So a lot of people are needing the money, and there's a lot more people buying gold than you think. Okay, that's the biggest fallacy there is there's no demand for gold, or it's just central banks. Believe me, plenty of me and you are buying gold and silver, and they keep running out. They keep making more silver. So there's a stockpile, but it's dwindling. And at my store, he's got the distributor, so he gets all the silver and makes the coins and sends it to him. But I'm looking at the coins, the silver I got says 2011 on it. These have been sitting around a while, but they still say 1 ounce is silver, $9.99. I'm okay, fine. And that's so I'll keep buying it. But I notice some have the year, some don't. Some have a troy ounce, some don't. Some say $9.99. I don't really care. Well, I went to the coin store Friday and I got 20 ounces of the rounds for $25. And I got my 1/10 of an ounce gold to now give me 10/10 of an ounce gold. So when I would go and he didn't have anything, he'd have these little 10 ouncers, and they were $230 and I go, good, I can buy gold for $230. Even if it's 1/10 of an ounce, good. It just feels good to buy some gold. And I bought a couple here and a couple there, and before I knew it, I have 9/10 of it. So 10/10 is an ounce, and 9. So every time I'm counting my gold, I got to fuck around with the 1/10 of an ouncers. So I went and he had one, and I bought. Said, this is the last one I'm buying. Now I have 10, which now 10/10 is 1 ounce. So now when I'm counting my ounces, I count all my ounces, my half ounces, my quarter ounces, and then the 1/10 of an ounce is 1 ounce. So that's how I do it. Silver is I'm almost at 600 ounces now. I bought another 20, and I go to the guy. It's like a no-brainer. I mean, I know they're 2,000 an ounce. I know the demand's high. I know they're needed for batteries and that. So that's what keeps the price down is Tesla needing silver to make their batteries, right? So he's buying them and he's keeping the price down. I guarantee it. So he's paying off JP Morgan. That's why silver's not moving. It's strictly because I need it to make batteries for my electric cars that I can't sell. And so that's the problem. So they're keeping it down so he can buy it. Now, he just bought a shitload of silver for the batteries. I think it's about to go now. You're going to see the volcano erupt very, very soon. Cool. Been watching any old school college football games lately. Some Michigan, Ohio State ones I like. I like the 49er catch one against the ones I really like are the 49er Dallas, Montana's the catch, the Oakland, Miami 74 championship game. Some of the Steelers Super Bowls are chanted. They play Oakland in the championship game twice that you can see. Some of the Packers stuff I like. The 65, they beat the Browns. 66, 67, they beat the Cowboys. So So I like, I like those. It's more clean. It's a good watch. You go in the coin store, well, okay, yes. So I don't think I'll go this week. I just got paid. Next week I won't get paid. So the week after I get paid. So probably the week after. Because this pay, I got to pay rent. The next pay is all, I pay $100 for car insurance and some food, and the lights are cheap. And, probably then I'd really love to get 2 more ounces. It's like I'm still trying to beat the clock, although I see the clock's waiting for me. I think we can go pretty much September, October and still get this gold at 2,000, even though we all want and hope it goes to 50,000. It's how long does it go before the banks explode? Now, the banks is a timing thing. They've locked in. So as I've explained, Bobby puts 100 grand into my bank. I take Bobby's 100 grand and I buy bonds with it. I give Bobby 2% and I get 5% on the bonds. And then I take the money from the bonds to pay Bobby the interest. And I'm okay until Bobby says, give me my 100 grand back. And my bonds haven't matured yet. So that's why I need them really short term. So the bonds haven't matured, but I don't have money for Bobby. So I got to sell the bonds. And if I'm selling them at a loss, I'm fucked. And that's what's happened is they've taken Bobby's money, but instead of the 5% on the bonds, they're getting 2%. On a 10-year, they go out at 2.5% on a bond, and they're giving Bobby 0.5% of interest. And everything's fine. And then the Fed raises interest rates to 5%, which makes the bonds worth less. So the $100 that I paid for the bonds now only worth $80, because now the interest went from 2 to 5. Now Bobby comes knocking for his 100,000, and I go, I don't have it, and I can't sell the bond because I've just lost $20 a bond, right? So I paid 100, it's worth 80. I'm fucked. Why would I go into a 10-year bond on a bank? You should never do that. But the whole banking thing's turned upside down by these interest rates going from 0 to 5. All banks are fucked because they're not smart enough to have put their money in gold. If it's like attack on Wall Street, if the banks would have just put their money in gold, they could sell the gold. Bobby, here's your 100 grand. But they're too stupid. Oh, we don't like gold. Oh, no. Oh, my God. So instead of doing the smart thing and the prudent thing, they go into bonds, which is not safe. And anything in this is not safe. Your bank account, your real estate trust, your savings account, your annuities, your real estate trust, even your real estate in this is not safe because this has no value. So when everybody tells me that Bill Gates has land, what's the land priced in? So we're in this. And the only way out is gold and silver. You have to get out of this because 1 billion times 0 is 0. That's what you got. This is paper. This is worthless. I'll do this. See? This is what I think of this. It's worthless. First day of economics class in my master's program, the guy takes a dollar bill and he rips it. He says, this is paper. It's worthless. And if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what does. And you're like, okay, it was the best class I ever had. It's the best class I've learned I ever had. And that's what taught me Austrian economics was the teacher doing that, going, this was in 1990, and it's lasted 35 years, and it doesn't have value, but people are so brainwashed by it, think it does. And this is why I keep screaming you guys going, get in the fucking gold and silver before it's too late, because this has no value. It's never had a value. As soon as the only value it had was it was backed by gold. So it had the gold backing that they couldn't predict. The gold standard says, all right, you have 1 trillion ounces of gold, you can print 1 trillion of these. Because if I take $100, I can say, here's $100, I want $100 worth of gold, and the bank had to give me the gold. That's the gold standard. So it's backed by gold, so it has a value. You take the gold out of it, it's not backed by anything. So these idiots can print it to death. That's why there's 10, 15, 20 trillion of it sitting out there. And that's why it has no value, because the more you print, the less it's worth. So that's what we're really dealing with. That's what the inflation is. It's not prices. And so therefore, if you understand that concept and you understand you can't do that to gold, you can't print it, automatically the gold goes up, and you get out of that to buy the gold. That's the first thing you're doing, getting out of that, buying gold. To get out of it, you're just getting out. Now you're getting the kick. Since it's been suppressed, the gold price will go through the roof. Then it won't even be priced in dollars anymore. Once the dollar goes away, gold will be priced in gold. And like I said, you'll buy a house and a car with the gold, and gold will be king. What happened to all the empires? They inflated their money. The Romans I don't know what they did. They took the gold out of their coins. So their coins were gold and silver, and they took their coins out of it. If you look at a gold coin, if you look at a 1 ounce gold coin, it says it's worth $50. Nobody's going to, I'm going to the grocery store at $50 and giving them the 1 ounce gold that's worth $2,100 now. More like 21,000. Why would I give it to the grocery store for 50? But that's the point. In the Roman times, that's what you would do. You'd go to the store, and your little 1/10 of an ounce says it's worth, I believe, $5. And you'd buy a bunch of apples. There's $5. You'd give them the gold. But at that point, that's what it was worth. It was worth 5 apples or whatever. Whatever $5 was back in the Roman times, until I assume the emperors, just like Biden, you know how corrupt they were. This is why it's very hard to have elected leaders. How do you keep them from being corrupt and corrupted? They might not be corrupt. And if somebody walks in who happens to be Chinese or Russian with them $5 million in a briefcase, how do you turn it down? How do you say, no, sorry, Putin, I can't, I know I'm Joe Biden, I know I'm the president, but gosh darn, I can't take your $5 million. Who's going to turn it down? That's the problem. All the, what do you call it? The, whatever. All the, Jesus. Anyway, the people that give you the money to vote for them, I can't think of. That's the problem. They sit there and they bribe you, and you're making, like in Brewster's Millions, you pay $10 million for a $60,000 a year job because you're getting all the kickbacks. And that's why people go into politics now, not to make it better for us, not to lead us, not to do what's best for us. It's they line their lobbyists. That's the word. So the lobbyists pay me $5 million to vote, for Coca-Cola or whatever. How am I not going to take the $5 million? And that's the problem. It becomes corrupt, and therefore, how do you ever stay strong? So as soon as you build up that you got all this money, here comes the lobbyist, vote for me, and then it becomes not free market. All of a sudden, I'm voting this way because I got $5 million. This is the problem. And then on top of it, so Pepsi gives you $5 million, and then Coke gives you $5 million. Now who do you vote for? But you got $10 million. So you're really fucked. By the way, I saw Kenzie's chats above in the chat. She said, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" She needs to show respect to the performer. Well, that's exactly what I told her. You heard about Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg in a cage match? No, I don't know. I hate Zuckerberg. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of Elon Musk either, but Kenzie supposedly is on Telegram, and I was on it, and it was all bullshit. So she's the only one I talked to on it. I never heard of it. She says I'm on Telegram. I think it's a scam thing, right? So I get on, and she texts me, "Oh, I need money," and da-da-da-da-da. And then she says, "Oh, my manager won't let us meet. He thinks you're going to hurt me." And I'm like, "Based on what?" And so I just deleted it. And she says, "Oh, I'm in Michigan." I said, "Well, either email me or text me on my phone like any other normal." If Jenna arrived in Detroit at the airport and didn't tell me, and she said, "I'm here," I would get it on my WhatsApp. I would get a little note. I'm here. Come pick me up. I would get communication. That you want to communicate with me, WhatsApp, you can text me, you can call me, you can email me, you can go on Teaser King, you can come here. I give you 25 different ways to communicate with me, but the best would be either email or my WhatsApp. Why she chooses not to, I don't know. Why she's swearing at me is because either you're coming or you're not. If you're here, where are you? I'm in Michigan. Okay, where are you? Where the fuck are you? So, okay, come on. Tell me where to meet you. Tell me where to pick you up. But you got to do it on WhatsApp or my email or my text. You can't do it on Telegram. I'm not on it. So she's mad I'm not on it. And I'm like, well, fuck off. I don't know. I would go for Elon, if anything, because I hate Facebook. Full of my family and friends embarrassing themselves too often. Oh, yeah, she's in Detroit. Who the fuck knows? She says she's in Michigan, not in Detroit. So if we align the scam, it's, I'm in Detroit, but I need money. So if you give me $200, then I can take a cab and come into Detroit, or it's about I need more money, and that's why I don't want to listen to it, and that's why I say the illusion is she's real, but she's just doing it for the money. And like I told you, my friend Galana from the Ukraine told me a secret about Russian women. They won't ask for money if they really love you, because they'd be afraid you would run away and not talk to them. And if they really love you, they don't want that. So a real woman who loves you or wants to be with you will never ask you for money, for fear that you would say, fuck off, giving you money. All you want is my money. So she will never ask you for money. Then after you meet, she'll ask you for money. But generally, like Jenna doesn't ask, now we've met and we go out. Now she says, I need money for food or something. So I send her money. But that's it. And she even says, I'm shy to ask you, even though we've been on like 4 vacations. She's like, I'm shy to ask you for money. And just ask. You need it. I'm not going to let you starve in the middle of a war. By the way, that reminds me, I was reading something about most dangerous cities in the U.S. and Detroit ranked high. It is really that bad. Detroit itself is, I don't live in Detroit. I'm about a half hour away in the suburbs. The suburbs are okay. The downtown's a bunch of prostitutes and drug dealers and criminals. And it's really poor and cheap. So it's where all the criminals live. So you really don't want to be in Detroit. So when I go to the casino, MGM, or if I were to go to a Tiger Lion game, which I never do, you'd have to pay for the tickets and the parking for me. I would park at MGM and walk 10 minutes to like Tiger Stadium or Comerica. But when I go to MGM to play poker, it's get in the car and get on the highway as quick as possible and get the hell out of Detroit. Yes, it's you don't want to have a flat tire 2 blocks from MGM. Put it that way. Now on the highway you're a little safer, but you don't want to be going through the subs. It's all criminals and drug dealers and stuff like that. So you're really trying to avoid that. That's the criminal. But I live in what's called Novi and Canton and these other Southfield. These other cities are fine. They're not really, I mean, you can go, I go to Target and Meijer, and I've never really worried about anything. Or like when I go to the club to swim, it's called Livonia. I go out to the parking lot. I'm not worried. So no, there's no crime outside of Detroit. Inside the Detroit's a lot of criminals. So you'd be careful there. You don't really want to work there or associate there. I remember taking Carmen. We met in LA, and then I took her to Chicago, and she's seeing all the downtowns, and we went to Detroit. And I tried to say, this is not like Chicago's downtown. This is much worse. And I says, okay, but we got to go during the day. And we went to a few places. I took her to the Renson, which is where GM is, right on the river. you can see Windsor, the safe side. And so we did that. But, I said, this is not Chicago. The riverfront here sucks. And it's only the rents. And so I took her to a nice Italian dinner and we got the fuck out of there. But it's not like Chicago. Detroit's really underdeveloped. It's not a real good city. Don't you go downtown to the casino? Yeah. There's 3 casinos downtown and the Lions. So if I do go, it's go to the casino and park. It's pretty safe there. They have security. Do your walk to the stadiums, about 10 minutes, right off the highway, and then walk back. So I don't do it often, but the casino has a lot of security, so you're pretty safe there. You've been to New Orleans? No, I have never been to New Orleans. Yeah, Kenzie's walking around downtown looking for you. Well, she knows I don't live in Detroit because I sent her the address on this fake form. But no, I'm in the suburbs, but who knows where she is. But again, it's very easy to just email me or text me and saying, here's where I am, pick me up. So if you're really here, you'd be doing that. If you're really Kenzie, you'd be doing that. But what she's trying to do is, well, I'm going to need another $200 for, you've already given me some. I need 200 more. And I don't want to hear it. I want to focus on Daria and Jenna. And I'm, how pissed are you, Bobby, if like Daria you don't hear from her for a few days? Am I overreacting? She's in Russia. She can't text from her job. So am I overreacting to Daria not hearing from her? Like, when she wakes up or goes to bed, okay, you can't text me at work, but am I, overreacting to that? Where Jenna, every day I hear from, when I wake up, I got a text from Jenna, how are you? And I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but she's not working. So I don't know if I'm overreacting or not, but she always responds and always, can't wait to get together, love you, whatever. So I don't know. Or when I'm giving her money for rent or food, then miraculously the day before she definitely has time to text me then. I remember last year in downtown Dallas, it was stacked with homeless people everywhere. Well, that's how California is. And a lot of that is BlackRock making houses way too expensive and they can't afford it. And so if your rent's $1,500 and you're not working and you can't afford the $1,500, what do? Now, instead of being homeless, I would probably try to adapt to it and get the fuck to Amsterdam or one of the European, even the Ukraine. Ukraine's very affordable before the war. I could have probably bought a house in Odessa for like $10,000, $15,000. All these beautiful girls, although I'd be with Jenna, and the food's extremely cheap. So you could live really nice in Odessa or in Lviv or half of the cities in Ukraine. It's very inexpensive, like Romania. So if you're really struggling, go move to Romania and you'll be like a king there. You saw the picture of the bears I showed you yesterday. I haven't heard from Irina today, but it's like, are you okay with the bears? I mean, the bears could come through her kitchen window and she's dead. So that's what I struggle with the girls in Russia and the Ukraine. Are you okay and alive? Because both Daria and Jenna have high blood pressure and they're very young, but they're undernourished and they drink a lot because it's cheap. So they both drink a lot. They both get high blood pressure from drinking, but they won't admit it. And then I'm not drinking. Yeah, okay. And I got high blood pressure because of the atmosphere. Yeah, sure you do. So I know it's the sugar and it's the alcohol, but you can't really push them. But I think that's a problem. So that's another reason I like to just make sure they're okay. I don't hear from Daria for a few days. I was in the hospital. I had high blood pressure or something. Well, I don't want to hear that, but That's why I get nervous when I don't hear from him, just because you're in the middle of a fucking war, although it's being fought on Ukraine soil. And who knows what's going on with Putin and the FSB and the KGB and all that shit. So yeah, that's basically the problem when you take houses away from the market. So anytime you do stuff that isn't free market, so all these people that are homeless don't have the money to live in the house. And what do you do about it? Well, why are they homeless? They could have at least worked at McDonald's, which would have paid you enough to at least get a 1-bedroom apartment. My guess is they probably had money in stocks or bonds and got inflated to zero, or they made some bad, like attack on Wall Street, right? So what happens? The guy puts the 60 grand away, and then the REITs happen, and he lose all their money. So I bet a lot of it's from the 2008-9 crash, and they could never recover. And there he is, and he had to leave his house because he didn't have any money. He lost the 60 grand. If he'd have put it in gold, he'd be still living there. And that's the problem, right? That's what you really have, because nobody would have like taken his house back because he's defaulting. Well, he wouldn't have defaulted with the gold, and therefore he still had the house, and he wouldn't have the bad credit, so he would have kept his job. So really that's what I get frustrated about with gold, is how people don't understand it, that it's money and it's worth a hell of a lot more than you think it is. That's why I scream at you to buy gold, because I know it's worth 40, 50 grand based on all the inflation going on. If Oreo cookies went from 2 to 5, why didn't gold go from 2,000 to 4,000? Why is gold still at 2? Why is silver still at 24? When you got Oreo cookies going to $5, you got a 2-liter pop going to $3, you got Fritos at $5, but yet silver stays at $22, $23, but Fritos will be more expensive than silver soon. So Fritos will be $5. Does that make any, why is Fritos going up and yet silver's not, right? So that's your answer. So yes, that's what you need to do, is get into the silver and gold, the Rolexes, the Mantle card. That's why I tell you, your only option is to get into real assets. Everything I tell you is a real asset. The Mantle card's an asset. The Bobby Boat card's an asset. Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. Get into those. But they've already gone up in the market, right? So if you want the Brady card, that rookie refractor I showed you, a PSA 10 non-refractor was $20,000. That's a perfect card. It's a refractor, so I'm guessing 100 grand. I got to get it graded. But my fear, if I get it graded, do I get the card back that I gave the grader? How much can I trust the grader? Is the illusion that he's grading it and giving you your card back? That's what I can't trust. So that's what I'm weighing in at. And that's my trust, not a trust issue, but that's how I line up the trust is you've got to hit certain points to get that the illusion is real. It's not an illusion. So the girl that smiles at you, well, right now it's the illusion. Why? Then you start talking to her, and then we go to dinner and everything's fine, and she seems normal and nice, and she's sincere. Okay, the illusion's over. Now she really does like me for me, not for my money or my gold or my illusion. So then you move on. So you've got ways to break the illusions. And with government, you can't break it. It's always an illusion with them. And 9/11, it's a fucking gold robbery. No, it's a terrorist bullshit. And the plane leveled the building. Bullshit. The plane didn't level the building. And then you're called a conspiracy theorist because you believe what the government told you was the truth. You don't believe it was the truth. You believe they were lying to you. And they were. And that's where you got to have the fortitude to say, fuck you. This is what happened. And then they make you prove it, right? I got to prove it was a gold robbery. Why don't you prove that the building actually came down was from the plane fuel? Because you can't, because the plane fuel doesn't burn at 2,700 degrees, which is what it needs to take steel down. It burns at 800 degrees. Not from me, from engineers on the little show that I watched, where they said steel has to burn at 2,700. So plane fuel will never cause steel to collapse. But when you see the little puffs of white smoke come out, they're doing a detonation like they did the Stardust or the Sands in Vegas, and the puff came out and the thing went straight. Said the Trade Center would have gone straight down. It would have went down and stopped because these pillars would have held it up, unless you blew up the pillars, which is what they were doing. That's why it went straight down. Only in a demolition would it go straight down. Oh, so it's a conspiracy theory, huh? Okay, well, you believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe the truth. But that's why the government illusion, they don't know what inflation is. You call them out on that. So there's so much that they just make up stories because they're all cred, because it's the name of the game. The lobbyist gives them money. So, why would I would run for Senate or Congress knowing I'm going to get the lobbyist to give me $5 million because the job pays $50,000. I'm not there for the salary. I'm there for the lobbyist. Can I do that to people? Take the lobbyist money? That's really dishonest. I'm not dishonest for a run because that's not, I would have to turn it down. And I don't know if I could. If somebody put $5 million next to me, I'd have a hard time saying no. Although I would go and run and buy gold with it. I wouldn't keep the money, but it would be a very hard thing to do. And that's really the problem. So that's what we have. All right, I will quickly go through. Well, I should probably do this on a separate thing. I wanted to talk about the trades, the Austrian theory of the trade cycle, which is being talked about by some of these morons, but they really don't understand it. It's basically fiduciary credit inflation. What's that? Well, there's different types of inflation. There's specie, which is inflation on gold. They found a big gold discovery, and they made the value of gold drop because they found all this gold. There's the debasement, which is what the Romans did, which is taking the gold out of the currency. Then there's fiat money, which the government runs the presses, which we're getting a lot of. Government prints money to cover the deficit. Well, we got a $35 trillion deficit. I think that's happening. And then there's the fiduciary credit inflation, which is the most dangerous. This is the bank credit inflation. This is what causes the trade cycle. So this is coming from the banks, the Fed printing the money. The federal, it's not the government, it's a separate bank. And that's what we have. It's the most dangerous. And it's done by fucking around with the interest rates and printing the money. And I'll get into it in a separate section. Nobody's going to go 2 hours into the video and then discover this. And I got to figure out the little titles. So I got to do that later. But that's what we're going to talk about. And basically we are at there's 16 stages. I think we're about step 13. Step 13 is liquidation phase. You sell, cost cutting, companies close, layoffs. And as I showed you, Ford's laying off and Facebook's laying off. So these companies are getting their layoff. Now, here's the only definition of deflation I have. Banks have bad loans. Fiduciary money goes down. Banks can't find willing and able to borrow. So the banks have bad loans. Fiduciary money goes down. Fiduciary money is when the Feds print. So I'm not quite sure. The banks have bad loans. So I've loaned you, you're not paying me back. I think what they mean by this is the money drops because the banks can't get money in from the lenders. So I've lent you $500,000 for a house, and now you're not paying me. So I think that's what it means, is the money that I should have is not coming in. Hardly has anything to do with. So in other words, the Fed's losing money because the money they've loaned out, they're not getting back, and they can't find able and willing people to lend the money to. Banks can't find willing and able to borrow. That's like me and Bobby. We want $50,000 for a car. We're able and willing to pay it back. We're working. We got money. We're good. I got I had about an 800 credit score till I bought a lot of gold on my credit card, and my credit card balances are up, but it's all gold, so I don't care. But that's what it is. So finding good creditors who can pay you back. So what that means is the banks can't get their money back, which is what I talk about. So if Bobby why would Bobby loan me $100,000? He got to be out of his mind in inflation, because for him to loan me 100, all right, am I good credit risk? Yes. He said, okay, I can loan Howard 100. What interest rate do I got to charge him to get my 100 back, plus the 10% interest I want to make? I want to get back 110,000. But Bobby has to calculate, wait a minute, there's fucking inflation, and it ain't 4%, it's 20%. So I got to figure out 100,000 times 20%. So next year this is worth 20,000. This is worth 80, and the following year is worth 60, and the following year it's worth 40. How much fucking interest do I got to charge if it's only a 3-year loan to get back the 100 plus the interest? So I want to get back 110, but my 100,000 is only going to be worth 40. So I got to charge him like 50% in interest. So when he's done paying in 3 years, I get back what is now worth 110,000. So Bobby either charges me 45%, or Bobby says, "Fuck it, why do the loan? It's too much inflation. I got to charge too much interest rate. There's nobody wants to give me 45%, so I don't want to loan the money out, because if I do, I'm never going to get back after inflation the money I should get back." And that is the problem. So there is no able and willing, because the people that'll want it are never going to give Bobby 50%, so Bobby can get back his $100,000 loan. So the banks aren't going to loan out any money. So Alligator talks about cash crunch, but that's kind of where we are. It's step 14. There's only 16 steps. Step 15, banks can't find borrowers. So because interest rates go up, nobody wants. Able and willing are borrowers. I'm able to borrow and I'm willing to borrow. I can be able to borrow, but I'm not willing to. I don't want to pay 20% interest. Plus, I don't want anything. I'm not going to buy a house or a car at this point. I already bought my car. I was able and willing, and I already paid it off. Cleaning out process is the last step. Everybody tries to get liquid. Businesses lay off, and the whole system crumbles, and then it comes back. And that's what we're getting near, is step 16. And at step 16, we're all fucked. The money is worthless. There's no jobs, So that's why we buy gold, but that's where we're headed. And it's all caused by fiduciary credit inflation, Austrian theory of the trade cycle. Only the Austrians are smart enough to figure this out. Beginning of the trade decision by Fed to lower the interest rates. They make the money cheap, and then everybody borrows, takes the money, makes bad business decisions because the money's cheap. They just keep borrowing and taking cheap money because it's cheap. They don't know what they're going to do with it. It's like I'm going to give you money and you go bet on a football game and you don't even know what you're betting on. I'll take Michigan State. Who they play? I don't care. I'm just going to bet it because it's 0% interest. So I can borrow the money and bet on the football. And that's what happened. So it's because the money's cheap, and this money's been at zero for how many years? Fucking Obama for 8, and then Trump tried to raise it and he couldn't. And now here finally Biden, his guy finally raises it because he can see the end is near. But raising interest rates won't save you. slowing the economy down and making prices come down because you can't sell. First of all, that's not true. That's not what will happen, because as we talk, if I have to sell Canadian Club, it costs me 30. If I have to sell it I can sell it at 30. If I have to sell it at 25, I don't. I go out of business. So prices don't necessarily go down. They go down to where I make 20%. If I'm not making 20%, if I'm making 5%, I'm not selling this, because I'm in business to make roughly 15, 20%, right? Otherwise, there's no point in going into business. Bobby's not going to sell shoes if Bobby can't make 20% on making the shoe, advertising, and selling it. If he can't make 20, he ain't going into it. There's no reason to go in to lose money. Can he compete with Jordan? Can he compete with LeBron? These other shoes? If he can, he doesn't go in. He looks for something else to go into. I'll make golf clubs or golf balls or tennis rackets, but I'm not going to go into gym shoes if there's no market where I can make 20%. Which you think you would, because the Jordan shoes are so fucking expensive. I just won't compete with $200 tennis shoes. I'll make $50 tennis shoes. But at the end of the day, the deflation is a slowing of the economy, not the prices. And the prices are controlled by the market, by us. They'll never sell steaks at $2 a steak because they won't make any money. So they're going to sell it at where they can make money. But if the price goes up, we just don't buy it. So I don't buy when they say, well, the prices will go up. That's bullshit. Prices might go up, but if we can substitute, we don't buy it. They sit on the shelves until the price drops. So I got my ribs at $12.99. They went from 10 to 15. I waited. Now they're 12. I'm buying. And the steak, the Delmonico's 20. I'm not buying. When it goes to 10, 20, never. But I fill my freezer up with $10 steak. I do that. But as prices go up, now you're fucked with utilities. All you can do is not turn on your air or turn on your heat a little and bundle and hope it's not too expensive. But I hear in the Ukraine, Alligator keeps bitching that his electric bill went from $200 to $2,000. Well, Alligator, it's time to stop using your electricity if you as little as possible. But that's the problem. You can't afford your electric bill. You only have so much money in that. And then they're killing the value of the money. So it's screaming to get into gold and silver, because you're not, as prices go up and as interest rates go up, you can't be in this. This is not, because this is what they print. Just like stocks, like bonds, just like fucking annuities, RITs, and all that shit. Anything that is in paper, the ETF and the COMEX, anything in paper where you can just print unlimited, you want to get the fuck out of, because it's going to not have a value. Because if you print a mass amount of it, Topps baseball cards, they have no value. You've got to be in limited stuff. Well, the most limited, obviously, is gold and silver, which is actual money. So that's why I keep pushing you there, is because you're not going to be able to afford the electricity. But if you have gold and silver, we just got to wait a little bit longer till that goes up. And then you're going to be paying for your bills in gold and silver. And that's what's going to save us all, because the prices will go up because the dollars won't have a value. And in electricity and heat, it won't matter. There's no substitute for that. In other words, I can substitute Canadian Club with Crown Royal and just get the cheapest, and whiskey's whiskey. Or Coca-Cola, I can get orange juice, or I can make ginger tea or regular tea or red rose tea or whatever. The Earl of Grey. I can do all that. But that's your thing. So we'll get into the trade cycle next show, or maybe I'll do it later. I want to do it by myself, but I was looking at a lot of my notes from 5/5/93. Inflation and unemployment. I love these cyclical unemployment, elimination, runaway hyperinflation. Let's read this one. The Germans printed new money and halted future inflation expectations. Lessons of monetary reform. Policymakers must have credibility or illusion. Convince public, stop inflation. Anti-inflation policy. Focus, eliminate inflation. Be wary of pessimistic conclusions that inflation can't be removed. Lessons of the German by Hazlitt. Hyperinflation, 1919 to 1923. The Reichsbank printed a lot of money off of the gold standard, inflated for the war. So you got to realize that German inflation was due to World War I, where they had to pay for the war. New 23 circulation of 245. So this was quiz 3. And I'll end with the Great Depression by Seinholz. Cause of the Depression, business stagflation and unemployment. The business cycle boom and bust. Stock market crashed, interest rates went up, business declined, profits declined, government set price controls. Naughty. High tariff was the big problem, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. That's a tax increase that makes things more costly. Obviously, that's a recession. That's what we're going through now. Went worldwide. We're worldwide now. A lot of similarities. Farming collapsed because it couldn't export. 8 million. 1932, government doubled income tax. Smart move. Government caused the depression. Tariffs, price fixing, farmers, high income tax, subsidies, all other taxes were raised. FDIC devalued the dollar by 40% and seized gold holdings, started minimum wage, government spending at 10 billion, revenues were 3 billion. So you're spending 10 billion and your revenues are 3 billion. Does that sound familiar? Isn't that what's going on now? NRA, National Recovery Administration, was terrible. Labor union, bad news. What do we know about the Great Crash? It was by Reynolds. The 1920s were great, not bad. Stock crash due to government intervention. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Bill calling for increased tariffs on imports. Monetary control in the political business cycle by Poole. So, and we all know who was in charge of finance in the 1930s for FDR. Take one guess. Yes. John, the Anvil, Maynard Keynes. And Keynes fucked us because he doesn't understand. Print money, let's build a dam, let's build a highway. That'll stimulate the economy. How is that going to stimulate? There's no profit coming in. You're not getting income. You're spending what you don't have. So you're spending dollars. You don't have 10 billion to spend, but you're making a road because you think what? I mean, the whole thing's so fucking insane. It's unbelievable. 30s. Of all the guys to bring in, I'm going to bring in the biggest idiot of all to do this. And that's why you had in. If you didn't do the tariffs, you wouldn't have had a Great Depression. Some of it was the boom bust where you lowered interest rates and you had the roaring 20s. Then you had Germany's problem paying for the war. They thought they would print money to pay for the war. How about that? I owe you 10 trillion. Why don't I go print money to pay for it? Does that sound familiar? Is that what the idiots in Washington are doing now? Is that what JP Morgan's doing? Printing. Not only is he printing money, he's printing derivatives for gold, which is going to blow that up. So that's going to really, when that goes, I don't know. I think 50,000 is very, very conservative. And I think $2,000 silver, I think is very low. I think it's much higher. It could be 10,000 silver. Problem is I'm an idiot for saying that because, oh, wait, yeah, COMEX has kept the price down. So silver can't get more than $50. Wait, but it's not going to be priced in COMEX. It's going to be priced in physical. And you don't know what the fuck that price was because it's never been priced at physical. But we do know the Mantle card's $1.5 million and the Michael Jordan card's $1 million. And we know that there's $40,000 Rolexes. So what the fuck if that's out there and the Montana rookie card's $100,000, you don't think gold can get to 50,000? But the Montana rookie card and the Rice rookie card are 100? Really? Bobby Bow. I'm trying to stay away from saturated fats, but don't know what to eat. It's frustrating at times. It's very simple, Bobby. You eat the vegetables. So it's broccoli, it's cauliflower, it's lettuce, red leaf lettuce, mushrooms, broccoli, and it's a do and a don't list. So the do list is what I just said: celery, broccoli, cauliflower, onions, mushrooms, red and yellow peppers, right? Things like that. It's the yellow squash I put on there. That's what I can eat. Then I can eat a little bit of strawberries and blueberries, not a lot, and blackberries. Careful with cherries and watermelon. They're very ribs, chicken, not fried, nothing fried, in olive oil, not saturated fat oil. That's the big thing that's killing you is you go out to eat and they cook your meal in vegetable oil, which is killing you. That's why I cook so much at home, is because I make everything with my olive oil. And it's extra virgin olive oil. It's very healthy. So you're eating salmon that's not farm raised. You're eating chicken, but you're barbecuing it yourself and you're not frying it. You're eating steaks and ribs that you're using olive oil and making, and hamburgers. You're eating eggs a day. You're making omelets. You're putting the veggies in the omelets. You're putting the hamburgers in the omelets, and you're eating that. You have a salad for lunch break. So it's 3:00. You had your omelet full of meat and veggies. And then at 3:00, you have celery and you dip it in the Ken's dressing. That's your snack. You can have a little bit of nuts, but they're going to be almonds and they're going to be like the little seeds and pecans. You got to be careful with cashews and pistachios. You got to be careful with I'm careful with the salt because of my feet. But basically, you're eating almonds and pecans. That's your little snack. You take a handful, that's your snack. You take some dark chocolate. You get one of those 8 or 10 squares in the bar. You're cutting off 2 here and maybe 2 a little later. You're not eating the whole bar at once. It's 2 slices here and there just for taste. You're having a lot of green tea, coffee, or water, whatever it is. You're having half and half in with your eggs or your coffee. You're not having sugar or sugar substitute. And if you're really hungry, maybe you have some popcorn and olive oil, and you put it in the pan. You let it. You put the heater on. You throw the kernels in, and they come out, and you have popcorn as a snack. And when you get hungry at night, you have water or tea or coffee, and that's your goal list. And that's also when you go to the grocery store, you're in the veggie aisle, a little bit of fruit. You get the turkey from the deli or the chicken. Your meats, you ignore pop, you very rarely go into the aisles. You can't eat cereal, you can't eat cookies, you can't have chips, so you don't even bother with it. It's go into the veggie aisle, get some fruit, go to the eggs, get the half and half and the eggs, and then get your butter. No, never margarine. You get butter, you get your olive oil, and your Ken's dressing. The only thing I go into the central grocery store, my Ken's dressing and my spices. I get my turmeric, I get my garlic and onion powders, my paprika, my salt and peppers. That's it. And then it's that. I am not, no pop, no cookies or candy, no ice cream, no, none of that. You don't even go in there. You can't have it. No pizza. It's all fat. It's all carbs. No bagels. No carbs. You don't want sugar. So it's your fats and your sugars that you're careful with. So everything I just said on your goal list, none of it has sugar in it, and you'll be fine. And none of it will make you hungry. Like if you get up at 8:00 and you're really hungry, you probably had Oreos or chips or something the day before, and that caused you to be hungry. So if you avoid that, and I'm eating an avocado. Oh, yeah, don't forget your avocados. You eat this, not only does it fill you up, it's extremely healthy for you. It's fats, but it's good. It's no carbs, and you're not hungry after it. I have one a day. The General Chow is perfectly fine. There's no sugar in it. It's chicken, which is good. There's broccoli in it, and I'm not having the rice. So I don't get the dinner. I don't get the combination where there's the rice, the egg roll, and that. I'm getting the chicken and the broccoli. Occasionally I'll get one egg roll, and that's fine. You can have something. Now on a Sunday, maybe you have an ice cream bar or a small pack of Oreos or a small bag of chips. You don't want the sugar, but you've got to be, that's phase 2. You've lost your weight. You're healthy. You're walking fine. You feel good. You've lost 30 pounds. Your blood pressure is 120. And now I can go have a little bag of Fritos or a little Oreo, but that's it. And that's Sundays. And then the rest of the week, I'm back to noon, snack at 3, steak at 6, tea at 9 after going to the pool. And I wake up and I don't eat till noon. I have tea or coffee at 8, 9 o'clock. That's your diet. That's what you focus on. You don't go to the chili aisle and the soup aisle and the cereal aisle and the cookie aisle. You don't go to those aisles because you can't have anything. So why tease yourself? You can't do it. So don't do it. So just ignore it. And that's really what you're doing. So that's what you eat. You don't eat, the veggies don't have saturated fats. And if you cook with olive oil, you don't have saturated fats. Does popcorn have fructose syrup? Not if you make it on your own. So I go buy the kernels, right? The Orville Redenbacher or just Meyer's or whatever. And it's all kernels. I get a pot, I put olive oil in it, let it heat up, put the kernels in, and that's it. And then throw some butter. Butter's very healthy for you, not margarine. So when it's done and all the kernels have popped, I've done it myself. I get some butter and I melt it and I put it on, maybe some cinnamon. And that's it. I used to put salt on it, but I got to watch my salt. You can put salt on it. You got to be careful of your salts, but I think I'm older, so my body is not as in depth at getting rid of the salt as it used to be, let's say. Or I'm eating too much of it and I'm not getting it out. So I've been very good with not having the salt in my stuff, and it seems to be working fine. So with that said, yes, that's a snack. That's your 3 o'clock snack. Maybe you eat that, have your avocado. I always start my day at about noon, my avocado, my dark, and you see it here, right? I ate that when I started the show. Avocado. I'm out of dark chocolate. I got to get more. Then I had my General Chow, right? I had the General Chow, and I didn't have, normally what I would do is an omelet where I'd put all my veggies and meat in the omelet and then throw the omelet over the top and then cook my omelet. And it's huge, but everything in it's good. It's in olive oil, and it's 3 eggs, which are extremely healthy. That and avocados are probably the healthiest things you can eat. And I would advise 3 eggs every day. That's your lunch or your dinner. 3-egg omelet with some hamburger in it or turkey from the lunch counter. Or even if you make, I could have put, I sometimes made chicken breast. I would slice that up and put it in the omelet and have chicken or hamburger in the omelet. Steaks, I could, but I think I'd rather the ribs. I like too much. I'll eat those on my own. But it's all the meat you can eat. The avocado, the dark chocolate's a nice little change of pace. The nuts, you can't have too many, but have some almonds. And you have to understand why you're doing it. You're doing it to get healthy, to get your blood pressure down, to lose weight, to get whatever it is that is wrong. Really, I did it for insulin resistance because I went to a clinic here. My doctor retired, and he says, you got diabetes. And I said, I didn't even know what it is. Oh, it's high blood sugar. Well, if I ate to get it high, if I don't eat, it'll go low, right? He says, well, no, it doesn't work that way. So that's when I found Sten, and I just Googled YouTube for how do you get rid of diabetes? And he says, oh, yeah, you can reverse insulin resistance, and this is what you do. You do the diet I'm telling you, and you do the fasting, and guess what? I lost 70 pounds, and my diabetes is gone, and my blood pressures went from 180 to 120. Now it's about 130 a little bit. So I tend to gain a little bit of weight because you get into the groove losing, but then once you lose, and you look, wow, I'm pretty flat and no huge stomach, and everything looks good. My clothes, I went from 44 waist to 36 waist. So then psychologically, you kind of relax a little bit, and then you have, all right, I'll have an ice cream on the weekend. I'll have this, I'll have that. And then you start gaining a little bit back. So then you keep going to the fast, things like that. So that's what ends up happening. But for the most part, Monday through Friday, it's veggie omelets with some meat. It's salads with my steaks and my chicken. So I basically pull out the chicken breast and I cook that for 2 or 3 days. I eat it. Then I'll cook a roast, or I'll get 3 pounds of hamburger. So I divvy it up to get the variety. And then usually the go-tos are the avocado, the dark chocolate, and the nuts. That way I stay away from chips. I try to stay away. You did see me eat the cherries. It was a treat instead of ice cream. It's very sweet though. So just eat a little, or watermelon's very sweet. You don't want to eat a lot of that. You'll see me eat cantaloupe, which I think is probably the best of those honeydew watermelon cantaloupes. I don't eat apples. A little bit of bananas. Those have carbs in them. So the fruit has sweet, even though it's natural. The cherries are sweet. So you got to be careful with that. Anyway, that's how you eat. You go, I go in, it's the veggies. When I go into the other store, I go to the meat counter, I get hamburgers, steaks, chicken, whatever he's got that's on sale, and I'm out. He happened to have Ken's salad dressing on sale, which I was shocked, for $2.50. So I bought like 4 bottles of that. So I buy all my Ken's when they're on sale. I don't pay now; they're up to $3.69. But if I see them on sale for $2, I'll buy 4 or 5 of them, and now I'm set for 6 months. Same thing with olive oil. When I get low, I buy 3 of them. They're on sale for like $12. They're 18 at Meijer's. At the expensive store, he's got them on sale always for like $10. So I'll buy 3 bottles there, and I'm set with that. Same with my spices. The spices give some basil's very tasty, and the garlic's very good, and the turmeric, all that's really good for you. And that's what you're doing. So I don't go to the cereal aisle or the cookie aisle or the ice cream and the pop. I'm just staying. That's when I start noticing, I start getting a little bit sick. My feet start bothering me. As I went and got a 2-liter of 7-Up, and I went and got a thing of ice cream. But it's New Year's, it's my birthday, it's the Super Bowl. So you make excuses. I can get chips for today. It's the Super Bowl. I can get ice cream, and I can get a little cake, and it's okay that day. But if you're going to get a pie, just get that one piece. Like you can go to the deli section of the bakery, and most of them will have one piece. So grab the one piece and enjoy, but don't grab the whole fucking pumpkin pie like I did at Thanksgiving. I got a whole pie, and in 2 days it's gone, because once you start, you're fucked. So if you do that, it's the holiday, it's your birthday, just get the one piece. Well, that's how you do it, but you avoid it, and you're basically telling yourself this is to get healthy. I eat the avocados. Is it the greatest tasting? No, but at this point, I know it's healthy. Same thing with the dark chocolate. It's not Kit Kats and M&Ms, but it's healthy. And believe me, when you're dying for chocolate, it tastes pretty fucking good, the dark chocolate. I'm getting 90 and I'm eating it and going, yeah, that's fine. I get some satisfaction out of eating the dark chocolate, so I'm fine. Instead of saying, well, it doesn't taste good. Yeah, we'll go eat Kit Kat and have your blood pressure go through the roof and your insulin go through the roof, and then tell me about it. Or you can have the dark chocolate and not have to worry about that shit. Anyway, so that's the way to do it, Bob. You just stay out of most of the aisles, or they're basically killing everybody with the food. I mean, the cereal, the cookies, the ice cream, the cakes, the bagels. It just the bread aisle. I mean, it's all sugar. They might as well just have like big bags of sugar and just take those instead of the Cheerios or the Fruit Loops. Just here's a bag of sugar. I'll just eat the sugar direct. So that's what you want. There's like pumpkin seeds and stuff that you can kind of nibble on that are okay. Chia seeds, but you spend most of the time in the fruit and veggie section and the eggs, and get your butter and your salad dressings that are not high fructose and corn syrup, and your half and half with your eggs, and that's it. And then you get the hell out. And so I just keep replenishing my lettuce, my broccoli, my peppers. That's when I go to the grocery store. Now, I'm out of lettuce. I pick up a lettuce and some broccoli and peppers. Okay, I can have my omelets. Oh, I'm out of eggs. I get eggs. Oh, I'm out of half and half. I'm out of dark chocolate. That's basically why I go to the grocery store now. I need my meat. I go to the other store for my steaks, my roasts, my ribs, my chicken, stuff like that. So with that said, that's like why you're buying gold is the same reason. You're buying it for health. You're buying it. Really, it's your financial health. If I hold on to this, let's put it this way. If I hold on to this is the same as eating a chocolate cream pie, right? So if I eat chocolate cream pie, I'm going to get sick. If I hold this, I'm going to get sick because I'll be worthless. But if I go to gold, it's the same as going to broccoli. If you can kind of think third dimensional, right? Broccoli is keeping me healthy, and the gold financially is keeping me healthy from getting away from the dollar. So if you can put it in those terms, it's a lot easier for you to stomach the gold and silver. Plus, you're not spending anything. You're getting out of that into gold and silver. And all you need to do is say, well, all the central banks are buying gold and silver. The inflation's not going away. Not like miraculously the inflation stops. Oh, okay, the dollars. They must have stopped printing, and come on, it's bullshit. They can't. They only print for the debt. You got $35 trillion in debt. You have to print. You fucked yourself. That's like having a $10,000 credit card. You have to pay it back. You got to keep paying it. So now you're stuck at, I got to keep working, or I got to keep doing something to get money in. And that's what ends up happening. So with that said, that's where we're at. So you eat too much sweets, and now it's like you printed too much dollars. You print too much dollars, you have inflation. You eat too much sweets, you get insulin resistance, which gives you heart attacks, strokes, kidney and liver problem, all that. And then your solution is go into gold and silver and start fasting and getting out of sugar and into veggies and eggs and stuff. So there's solutions to both, and they both have the same problem. You're overindulging in the wrong thing, but you don't know it. You don't know printing will cause inflation, but we figure it out because I learned it in Austrian economics that printing fucks the dollar up. So once I get that, but I guarantee you, these idiots and who are printing the dollars have no idea that the printing of the dollar is causing the inflation. I think they're serious when they're saying, well, it's because they're raising prices. Prices are going up because Tesla's raising prices, which actually he's lowering them. But let's say Oriole's raising prices. That's why there's inflation, because look at Oriole raised prices. This is what I think they actually believe, because they're too stupid to actually understand that the inflation is caused by them printing, because they never say it. And I doubt very seriously they understand it because they keep printing. Oh, wait, we'll raise interest rates. That'll stop it. No, it won't. Not if you keep printing. The more you print, the less it's worth. And it's like, well, you know what? If I eat less meals a day, I'll lower my diabetes, but I'll still eat ice cream and cake. No, just get rid of the ice cream and cake, and you eat your 2 meals and you fast, you'll get rid of it. I'm a perfect example. So if you just add the fast and you get rid of your sugars you'll be healthy, because the sugar is what's making you unhealthy, as is the printing of the dollar is making the economy unhealthy. It's all the same thing. Are you laughing your ass off? Make some turkey burgers. LMA. Do you put cheese in your burgers? You could, but I don't, because cheese, when I start eating cheese, I notice my feet bother me. So I don't know if it's a dairy thing with me or not. So I notice I'll make cheeseburgers, and next thing I know, my feet are hurting. So I stop eating the cheese. So I can have one slice once in a while, but I can't eat it all the time. So it's just my thing. Now, in your case, if the cheese doesn't bother your feet, there's nothing wrong with cheese. Although I do stay away. There could be saturated fat, so be careful of the cheese with that. But I stay away from, like, I don't eat yogurt anymore. I used to think it was healthy. It's not, according to our Dr. Sven. Yogurts aren't good for you. The milk, I used to drink skim milk. It's the worst thing you could have. If you're going to have milk, you have regular milk, because the stuff they put in to replace the stuff they did, the pasteurize, homogenize, whatever the fuck they do to the milk, by putting it in skim milk, they've taken all the good ingredients out of the milk and put in all this bullshit. Therefore, the skim milk's far worse for you than the regular milk. But I don't have it. I have half and half in my eggs and half in my coffee. That's the extent of me having it. I don't have Miracle Whip anymore. I have fructose corn syrup. So Hellmann's is an option. There's no high fructose corn syrup in Hellmann's. But I don't have tuna much because of the mercury shit that they say. Occasionally I have tuna, and I just put my Thousand Island Ken's. I use the Ken's salad dressings for all my stuff. The French is so tasty with the steak or ribs or anything. I'm even going to, next time I go get my ribs at my barbecue place, I'm bringing Ken's. I'm bringing the Ken's French. I'll ask for a salad with no dressing. I'll ask for the ribs and chicken without the barbecue. I'll put my own on it. And then I'll get, I don't know, baked potato or, I can get a salad and coleslaw. Coleslaw is probably a little sweet, but okay. That's why you don't like to eat out. And then what are they making the chicken in? Probably vegetable oil. And how are they cooking the ribs? Not with olive oil, I guarantee you. Anyway, so that's the biggest problem, is convincing people that why is the gold price going to go up now? Instead of the illusion is gold doesn't have a value. And that's really the key. So if I start doing that to the communists and the people in the hot tub, saying the illusion is gold has no value and the dollar does, and in reality, all the central banks are buying gold, so the value, that might get to them. So they want to make $1 million on gold. Well, we want gold to be dollars. And that's really the problem. You're not really, do you want to are you trying to make $1 million buying a Mantle card, or are you buying it? Like the Joe Montana card. I bet I paid $60 for it back in the early 90s. And I was seeing that the rookie cards were and I said, okay. And I said, I got to get Elway, Marinos, Montanas, Rices, all those superstars, Peytons, Earl Campbell, Tony Dorsett, on and on and on. I got their rookie cards. My only mistake was not getting the Jim Brown or the rookie card, but that would have been too expensive. But with that said, that was the point. Did I think they'd be worth $1 million? No, I was buying the Montana rookie because I like, which is proving to be huge, worth $100,000 versus not in mint condition where it wouldn't be worth anything. So I had the correct thought process to buy mint condition cards, knowing the value is going to be worth more in mint, and they'd be a lot less limited mint cards than non-mint cards. So that's what I did. So buying gold, are you buying gold? Like, what are they saying? Well, why isn't the value going up? So you're buying gold because you want it to be worth $100,000? That's not why you're buying gold. That's not why you bought the Montana or the Mantle. or my Bobby Orr. You're not buying those things to get them to be worth $1 million. You're buying them because you like them and you know they're good players, and you know if it's in real mint condition, they'll have a good value. But when I bought the Mantle card, it was probably $150. It's the 68. It's in fucking mint condition. I never even thought about it. I'm happy I have a Mantle card. That was it. I was happy I got the Mantle card. I didn't expect it to be worth a lot. But in mint, if it's a PSA 10, I don't know what it's worth. I mean, because you can't even find them in PSA 10. Now, it might not be a 10. It's probably a 9, but still worth a lot. It's Mantle. It's a 9. And that's really, but I'm not buying it to really make money on it. That wasn't the intent. It was to own it. And I'm buying gold with the intent of it's going to be worth something, and I'm out of this. So there's twofold. I know this is going to be worth zero. You can see it. Everybody's getting out of the dollar into bricks. Everybody's going into gold. So if everybody's going into gold, nobody's going into this. If everybody's going after the pretty girl, the other girl's sitting there, nobody wants. She turned 16. She's fat and ugly. Nobody wants her. Well, you can see that. Nobody wants the dollar. You can see that. Nobody's running into the dollar, and they're not smart enough to back it by gold. That's their only hope. If I'm the U.S., I right now come out with $1 backed by gold. Then I survive. That's the only way. There's no way raising interest rates, all this other bullshit. Only way to survive is to back your money by gold, but they're too stupid to do it. Not even to keep it the reserve currency, just to keep the reserve, just to keep your currency in value. So this is on the way out. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. It's worthless in anything. Whiskey, pop, girls, whatever. If nobody wants it, it has no value. That's the point. So the only way out of the dollar is to back it by gold, but they won't do it. So with that being said, I'm trying to remember my conclusion here. You want to be in gold because you want to get out of this because you see the end coming. You don't know what gold's going to have as value. I'm suggesting 50,000, but wait a minute. This is going out. So this is going to be worth zero. So gold won't be 50,000. It'll be much higher because it won't be priced in dollars anymore. Now it's going to be priced in gold, but it's worldwide. Everybody wants gold. If everybody wants something, the price is much, much higher. And what's it going to buy? It's going to buy anything because people selling cars, houses, whatever you're selling, you're trying to make a profit. You're going to want money for it. Well, wait, this isn't money, but gold is. So you're going to want the gold. So you'll say, you know what? Yeah, I got 100,000 Mercedes. It's sitting here. I got gold. And you'll say, okay, give me the gold. And you can have the Mercedes. And at least I walk away with money. And we won't know what the value of the gold is, but it won't be priced in dollars anymore. But it's gold, so it'll be priced in gold. And that's the key to it. So that is the bottom line, because the Stone professor says so. Stone Cold. I'm not stoned, but the professor says so. So that's what you're really doing. You don't know. You're buying a Rolex because it looks nice. You're not really thinking it's worth money. You're not really buying the Montana or the Rice rookie cards because you think you're going to be worth $100,000. You're buying them because you like those players and you get a nice card. You're buying stuff because you like it. This you're getting out of the dollar because you know it has no future, and you're getting into gold and silver because you know that's where the future is. And we don't know the price, but that's why you shouldn't be worried about the price. You shouldn't be worried about the price now, nor should you be worried about what the price is later. All you know is you're going to make a fortune because the competition of the US dollar is gone. So if it's gone, I got gold. I don't have competition. I've got a monopoly. And what happens when you have a monopoly? This is another reason JP Morgan doesn't want to give up on the COMEX, because then the monopoly is gold and silver. And once it's the monopoly, we set the price. You're going to be a very rich motherfucker, put it that way. So keep that in mind. Gold will be the monopoly. JP Morgan's trying to hold this as the monopoly, but it can't compete with gold because you can't print gold. And they call it third-party risk, which means this is government debt. The government prints this. The government gives you the money. Gold, there's nothing there. You got an ounce of gold. Nobody can take it away. Nobody can say it's worth zero. You've got the monopoly. And when you've got the monopoly, that's what you're looking for. That's the gold standard. That's, Porsche. There's no substitute. When we know there's no substitute in gold. So once you have that, you've got it made. That's why you don't care. You know it's going to be worth a fortune. And that's why you don't care about the price now, because it's just a matter of time till let's have a football game, gold versus the dollar, and gold will win by 50 points every time. Put it bluntly. All right, time to get to the pool. It's 3:00. Pool's open to 4:30. So I want to get there. And today I got to do the pool and then the bike because of the time constraint. And popcorn sounds pretty good, Bobby. I think I'll go pick up some popcorn. And I don't need much. I just got my meat, and I got to make a steak and ribs for dinner when I get back. Yum, yum. All right. I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the class today. I, as always, try to teach. We'll go much more into the economics from our master's class next time, so I think I'll just do that unless I learn how to do these titles where I can say, okay, master's class, okay, gold, okay, football. And then you can scribble over to the point you like. Otherwise, I think I'll just do economics and gold, and then we'll do football. Baseball, let's go through one more time. Atlanta, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh over, Toronto, KC over, the Yankees under, Texas over, Colorado over, Arizona under, Oakland under, Seattle under, Cleveland, and the lock is the 49ers, Mets over. Bobby is going to play tonight. Look for a couple home runs from Bobby, and it should be a high-scoring game. All right, thank you very much. Have a nice day. I will be back Tuesday, 4th of July. I don't know. The pool's open till 1:30, so I might, like at 11 o'clock, if I'm up, go to the pool, get that out of the way. Maybe have a 2 o'clock class. I'll try to keep it. My family's in Europe, so I can't barbecue with Daria or Jenna at this point. And I hope Irina is safe with the beer. So I will talk to everybody on Tuesday. Happy 4th of July. Have a very nice weekend. Avoid you. And Dr. Eckberg is the doctor that I'm recommending, not the other guy Bobby said. So anyway, have a great day. Good luck. Be healthy. Not too much sugar, not too much alcohol, and try not to smoke. It's all poison. It's one thing I see these girls and they smoke, and you're like, you're smoking poison. What do you tell them, right? Pretty girl smoking, and you're like, it's not that you care that they smoke, but you realize they're smoking poison, and they're gonna like turn ugly because the smoke just kills you. When you get older, the face goes and the looks go, and they're all about looks, but they don't realize that the cigarettes are what's the poison is killing them. So it's unfortunate, but you try to be leery of that. Carmen used to smoke and she got sick, and now she doesn't smoke. So I'm glad, but it's going to affect her. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. We'll probably start with the football. You can go on now and buy, but we're going to probably adjust the prices a little bit soon, probably by the end of July. Email me on Teaserking if you have questions on buying the season, or you want suggestions for packages and stuff like that. please feel free to. But that's it. All right. Have a great day. Buy your gold and silver. Take care. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Happy 4th of July.